everyone. Michael J. Nelson here, along with Connor Listoka. He and I have a podcast, and that's what we're doing right now, and it is called 372 Pages We'll Never Get Back. It is a podcast where we review... I don't know why I'm doing this breathlessly. We review books that we probably won't like. Anyway, Connor, hello. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. I was getting concerned for you. You were...
I started to do a little NPR kind of. No, that would have been longer pauses between each thing.
We threatened to do a whole segment as Morning Zoo DJs, right? Didn't we say we were going to do that for charity sometime?
Yes.
Doing it as NPR would require a bit more study, I feel like, on my part, but it would be another fun challenge. Spin the wheel of radio hosts, and then we'll do whatever that. We'll be shock jocks. We'll be hustle bro podcasters.
I was just with a group of people talking about, I tried to solicit a little more bitterness over morning DJ humor, which has never been my favorite thing. Like, hey, this is Bob from your tire store. Your tire exploded and killed 4 children.
Oh my God. Please, no.
I'm kidding, you stupid piece of crap.
Oh, you got me, Bob.
You got me. I thought it was actually true. I brought that up to people, and about 75% were like, yep, I hate that. And then a couple were like, I don't know. I find that kind of funny.
Really? I listen to 3 hours a day of it. And you're saying it's rotted my brain? Huh?
Damn it.
I put on the local DC sports talk radio sometimes if I'm just going on a 7-minute drive and don't need to queue up my phone on Bluetooth and stuff like that. And
sure.
It's exactly what you'd expect. Just guys confidently saying, from their studio what this, coach who's been in the NFL for 30 years should be doing. And then 8 minutes of commercials. It's incredible. The Sports Junkies is our local one.
The commercials are incredible. All right, we should get to our podcast. We have a lot to cover. Yeah, we're sorry about that. Already
this is the third episode of The Adventures of the Teen Archeologists in the Land of the Mopek, potentially book 1. It is the only book in the series, obviously. And it is by Larry and Denise Ellis, who have written 2 books. This is the second one we've covered on the podcast, both virtually identical, but in different worlds, but very, very similar fixations, very similar style ticks, and they have been an absolute joy to discuss on the podcast.
The delight continues. There's a couple times where I just wrote down pure, undistilled, this is just Larry and Denise right here.
Yep.
So many times in this particular reading. I mean, I know it's happened all throughout, but it takes you a while to get back into it. Like, I kind of forgot their style, and then as I got back into it, I was like, here we are.
Yeah, it's like
hot bath.
When you discover like a folk artist who's just been doing this stuff in their basement for 20 years, and then they have this entire like backlog of work that just sort of gets released into the world, and it resonates with people, and it would have been impossible to duplicate for someone to try and fake it. And that's what we have found here with Larry and Denise, their way of describing these things, their worldview, I guess, if you could have it, and what they think an audience wants to read is just purely unique.
I think what you're saying is that they are the Johann Sebastian Bach of writing their own novels. They're quietly toiling away, getting up at 5 a.m. every day, writing pure genius, and no one ever notices it until later. And then, right? Is that?
Yes, exactly. It's probably not the getting up at 5 a.m. for Larry. I think that they might do a handoff. He kicks in the door. Denise is making
Larry
coffee. He passes out
until 5
on the lazy boy. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He's got a maid on seen on TV channel, and the phone's in his hand, and she's like, "Oh my God, he ordered another salad shooter." We have 3 of those. He forgets every single time.
He ordered one of those golf clubs. Like, you don't even golf, Larry. What? You stopped.
I met a guy tonight. He's talking it up. We're going to invest.
All right. So the plot so far.
That word. We have 3 teenagers who are British, even though they celebrate the 4th of July. They've traveled to Nigeria with their parents, who are explorers. And then they met friends in Nigeria, and one of those friends' grandfathers gave them a treasure map to the land of the Mopek, which he had never been to. They traveled across virtually all of Africa in the span of an afternoon. They entered a pyramid, which was a major tourist destination, opened a sarcophagus that had a bunch of bats in it, and climbed down some vines into the underground land of the Mopek. I say underground because we did have a discussion offline.
This is coming up in a big way.
Yeah.
They are underground. I had to did the wait, what? But yes,
they're very much underground, and yet the Mopek have a thriving, yet small, we are led to believe, we estimated it at around 3,000 people, civilization where there is a royal family. There's a prince and princess, a king and a queen. There's a evil sorceress who is in with the royal family. There are guards, and then there's various schools of warriors that are training for Lord knows what. I guess they are training to keep out the rebels who have been exiled to the jungle.
Who lives in wait a minute. This time we'll get to it, but jungles.
Okay.
There's a plural. There are a number of jungles out there, underground.
Yes, and there is also a island underground.
Yes,
where the dinosaurs live, and
where they come and occasionally snatch away several people.
Yes,
they walk like the dinosaurs land. They're flying dinosaurs. They land, walk like humans, pick up people with their teeth, and fly away. Correct?
Yes, that has happened once, and it is going to happen again because it was covered in fanfic. And I think that's where we're at right now. There is a scheme that is, as this thing starts, of royal succession, some Game of Thrones intrigue where the Prince Raysean is conspiring with the evil sorceress Isabella to depose his father.
Sorcerers, yes.
And that, if we didn't really mention the teen archaeologists, once we have in the past couple descriptions of this, they sort of get sidelined quite a bit in their own book for this royal intrigue.
The timeline is very difficult to figure out. How long do you think they are down there for?
Yes, it's hard.
It's hard to say. They're just wandering around. They'll just hands in pockets, kicking stones, walk up to a class like, "Hey, young fella, who are you?" Yeah, we're from above the earth. Oh, well, come join our class. And then we don't know if they actually compete, they complete the class. And
true.
We just don't know.
Yeah,
we don't.
They occasionally wrestle or sword fight. But then,
compete.
The Ellises will do something sometime later, and it's that could easily be days, if not weeks. So, we did see their parents, along with, Baba Tunde and some other people from Nigeria, did realized they were missing, were very upset, and I think set out to find them. But it could be weeks that they are missing because that's how long it took the adults to travel from Lagos to Mopek land.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I mean, how long were they in that river? We don't know. Yeah. Anyway, that's where we are now. They're just sort of wandering around. There's a vague threat from Dinosaur Island, but the king seems pretty unconcerned with that. He keeps holding competitions, which we'll see coming up. And the kids are just kind of wandering around, free, although they have been
imprisoned a couple times.
Yeah, but they've also been told you are an existential threat to our society because now you can never, ever, ever, ever leave.
Yeah.
Because if you do, people will know about us and they'll destroy us. I mean, I was picturing if you knew about them, I guess you just kind of, like you do on an elevator, just jump up and down, and then all of a sudden your feet would go through, and then you'd be in the land of Mopek.
Okay, yeah.
That's how I picture it. So I don't know. I don't know how deep under it is. I feel like a couple stair levels, maybe.
I mean, a vine's length, so
yeah,
but
so a B level of a parking lot.
Okay, but the flying dinosaurs don't have a lot of head clearance.
They don't have a lot. That's what I'm saying. They don't really have a lot of swooping room. But all right. Anyway, that's where we are. So let's get into this.
Sure. It does start with Isabella, who is attending to the princess who has just had a fight with her brother Prince Raysean. And, it doesn't... Isabella seems to have been raised in this kingdom. You know, her mom died, and they made a dying promise that they would raise her daughter. But she doesn't really leave any room for ambiguity in terms of how evil she is. At least the authors don't. It's the princess.
She smiles evilly quite a bit.
Yes, and not only smiles evil or wickedly. It says the princess was crying. Isabella started smiling when she saw the princess crying. It gave her great pleasure in seeing the princess suffer emotionally. So that's just like super evil. Like it's like feeding her essence feeds off this suffering woman.
That was one of my immediately the great prose because Princess lay in the lounge chairs crying. No punctuation, by the way.
Sure.
Crying. The beautiful Isabella walked up, saw the princess crying, so crying twice. Gave her great pleasure. She rushed in and said sarcastically, "Princess, is there anything I can do? Why are you crying?"
It's odd that she mentions that. This is the first it's coming up.
Yes.
But then the princess then says, "Get out! I don't want your help. I don't trust you." And this was a good thing to learn about the Mopek society. Isabella sort of like says like, "Well, you don't have to be so nasty. I can remember a time when we were both girls that you considered me as your sister. In fact, you followed me around like a little puppy." So the Mopek have domesticated canines in their underground society. They understand like what puppies are, and have with all the other animals that live underground with them. They have domesticated them.
Sure. I mean, they have. Well, we know when they compete, they have wrestling mats.
Okay. Yeah.
So I assume they have like training mats for their pets as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a mat manufacturing company underground.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but yeah, the society does. It has a lot of things that not really sure how it was functioning without this. Palace intrigue and these children visiting, because for the most part, there's not a lot to do down there. There's not a big like economy or anything.
Yeah, it's tough to say. Like what, there's some parents, I guess, but there's mostly people training warriors.
Yes,
and I assume they're paid. You know what? I just realized we've never seen money changing hands.
Yeah, they do have valuable gems and jewels, and there is a diamond tiara that comes up later. So
yes, yeah, okay.
So they didn't do the Garrett P. Service thing of being like, these worthless rocks are intriguing to you? Why, we use these as toilet paper in the land of the Mopek. Like, so unsure what's going on there. But I think all the warriors, their justification is that there are, rebels.
We use these gems as toilet paper. So
which we are familiar with, yes.
We're very familiar.
Toilet paper is very valuable to us.
And we realize it's a completely different substance, but we use them as all right.
Yes. All right. Well, that wouldn't. I hope I didn't burn a real or fanfic by that.
Yeah. Oh man. That would be so good.
This is a good. This comes up twice, I think, in this section where they're just having sort of a lot of bickering in this. So they're bickering, and the princess says, "Oh, don't pretend like you're shy and innocent. Others may be fooled, but I am not. I see the evil behind your beauty." To which Isabel responds, Isabella laughed out loud, which is just traditionally the way that one does laugh, I understand they were writing this in 2013, so LOLing was a pretty prominent part of the discourse, but
I guess, snickering like a cartoon dog.
Sure.
It's not quite out loud.
Still
audible. Well, then we get this, and as people probably know by now, this is one of my favorite ticks of the Ellises. Isabella became furious. Right. All right, I got to hold it together for this one. Yes. She walked over to Aswenta and slapped her across the face. This is something we've seen many times, so not a surprise. Still a delight.
Still, yes.
Then Aswenta slapped her back and then stormed out of her own chambers. Isabella was furious.
Yeah, it turns into
just
the
absolute delight.
the UFC power slap competition, that short-lived thing from earlier in this year. Just
right.
two people
yeah.
slapping each other.
Right, and one of them will pass out. Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the most evil, sinister. I think the only person who is a practicing magician in this world just walks up and just slaps the hell out of her across the face. So maybe her powers, deplete, and she has to work them back up. Until then, she's reduced to behaving like a real housewife. We're not sure.
Yeah. She she was furious. I thought she became furious. So she was furious.
No, it says she became furious.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah, because Aswenta said that she will personally see to it that she spends the rest of your life living in the jungle with the animals and the rebels.
Oh, those rebels.
We should just get ahead of it. No rebels in this section either. There has been no.
We have a very long reading.
The rebels have been discussed. They are an omnipresent threat. We have not encountered any of them yet, and we still don't know what they've rebelled against.
And they are grouped with, as you said, the animals, right? Frequently, it's like
sure, yeah,
the rebels and the animals or something. I think that's like everyone says that. Like
okay,
the king says it. A princess says it.
Yeah. And
like, you are no better than the rebels and the animals who live in the jungles.
But to put it out there, there's another part later, but I'm not sure they understand what rebels means.
Okay.
I don't know that they think that to be a rebel, you have to have, participated in a rebellion. I think
are rebels, do they live at a petty zoo?
Possibly, yes.
Okay.
I think they are just bad guys,
Okay, sure.
And so this is important. Well, it's important as anything in this book is important. Princess Aswenta says, hey, you are trying to woo my brother, you're trying to seduce him, but hey, Rayshawn's fiance, Lady Stephanie, knows what's going on. She's not fooled by your charm either. Both Stephanie and I will put an end to you. So Stephanie has been mentioned once. This is the second time she's mentioned.
This was one of those, I've done this before, and I've voiced my frustration on our Patreon. Please join our Patreon to look at my frustration that comes up while I'm reading. Who is Charlie is one of my things. Stephanie, too, was one of those where I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Because
it's mentioned in a way like, Stephanie. And you're like, wait, huh?
Is she the one that said man a lot?
Yes. So yes, that was quite a revelation. Suddenly, Stephanie becomes a big character.
And I looked it up, and she was referred to in an off-screen manner. Even the one time she was mentioned, it said, "Hey, you're a bad guy, brother. You've already proven you have no respect for women. Look at how you treat your fiance, Lady Stephanie." So that was the only other time she's been mentioned.
So in chapter 8, we get it's Yadira. Is that the
Yadira, the Head Maiden? Yes,
the Head Maiden,
who was on the balcony this whole time during this discussion.
Yes. Okay. Here we go. Here's the balcony thing. I just want you to count the number of balconies because this is Yadira.
Okay.
Suddenly, she heard a noise coming from the princess's balcony. I don't know how to pronounce that. There's a
princess possessive with a possessive at the end.
Yeah, but no extra S.
Sure.
So princess balcony. She turned around quickly, looked over at the balcony, but didn't see anything. She heard a noise again coming from the princess balcony. She smiled to herself wickedly. Isabella walked over to the balcony. Is this a Ernest Hemingway writing competition thing going on? What is happening here?
I don't know, but you get that effect of when you say the word over and over again, semantic satiation with the balcony. It just, you realize that's a weird word once you said it 5 times in 3 sentences. Balcony.
Smiling to herself wickedly, by the way, reminded me of the John Travolta saying. What's her name? The singer that he was trying to pronounce, but
Idina Menzel.
Idina Menzel, and he called her Adele Dazeem. But he goes, and now the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. So he was using wickedly to pause and go, oh God, I don't know what this. Watch it again, and you'll see he pauses on wickedly in a way that, as I read this whole passage that has wickedly 700 times, I was like, damn it, John Travolta's voice is in my head. Should have been Ellen Travolta's voice.
I learned that Ellen Travolta existed yesterday. That was a big moment for me.
Yes.
Wickedly only appears in this book 5 times. That's stunning to me.
That is stunning.
I feel like she's always smiling wickedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she says to the head maiden who was out there, she was just on the balcony when Isabella walked in, and so she hid out there. She wasn't doing this intentionally. Isabella says, "Didn't anybody teach you that spying on others is a sin?" So that was another thing that I realized about Molpec culture, is that their morality, they have defined sin in this culture. That's
sure.
It's not really up there with, lust and wrath as far as I'm concerned. Eavesdropping, it's not like, a slight violation of privacy. I don't know.
The 7 deadly sins of going out onto a balcony.
But I understand that, their culture is different than ours. I'm sure in some ways it hasn't really been different that much, but
but she does call Yadira. This stood out to me because of something we recently did at Riff Track. Sorry for the cross promotion. Now I see where they get all their nosy ways from. They obviously get them from watching you. Whatever shall I do with you, you old maiden? Yadira, I had no idea she was like a very old maiden.
Very old woman, yes. Yeah, it's you have to imagine.
I assumed maiden?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, 14 or something.
Yes. What in the teenagers in this book? That's on you. I mean, if you're imposing
yes,
that
is. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, she's like the elder lady on Game of Thrones or something, I guess. The tell Joffrey it was me.
Right.
And so, Isabella then takes away the maiden's voice with magic and then pushes her over a balcony. And she tried to speak, but no sound came from her mouth. She then used her magic to force the maiden over the balcony. She fell over the balcony and landed on the ground beneath, not in a tree. It was my only disappointment there.
Who attended to her? Do you know?
Who then comes in to rescue her?
No, but who attends to her after she injures herself?
Oh, well, the physician Jefferson.
Yes. The
physician Jefferson and several warriors rushed over to the head maiden. It's just incredible.
So he was, I'm assuming, was moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Sure, they have those here in the land of the Molpec.
Sure,
even though you can't see the sky because it's underground.
The
only appearances of the physician Jefferson, I'm sorry to say, but it was also just came as a because a crowd gathers around her. People whisper themselves. Yeah. So you're just imagining this broken, shattered body. A bag of blood is exploded. But it says she was placed in a bed, and the physician tended to her wounds. She had a broken leg, a broken arm, and a dislocated shoulder. She also had cuts and bruises all over her body. You're a lucky woman, Yadira. You could have been hurt a lot worse. That's a grade A physician, Jefferson. Falling off a balcony, you could have been hurt worse. Yeah.
Also, Isabella, that's all you got?
Yeah. Well,
throws her over the balcony and then is like, brushes her hands off and walks away, and then sees her stand up. The physician Jefferson is like, shake it off. You're good.
Yeah. And she's slapping people and pushing them off of balconies. That's
Come on, you're smiling wickedly all the time. You can't suddenly turn your wand turns into a sword and you stab her through the heart and I don't know what happened to you, dear. Who knows?
Age them 200 years in 10 seconds or something, or
she throws her off a small balcony where she lands into a hedge and it's pretty cut up. This is nasty. I would prefer to have not done this, but
all things considered. With being an evil sorceress, I got off pretty easy. Do I have my voice back, by the way? Because that is not mentioned. As the physician Jefferson lectures me, when you do get well, do yourself a favor, stay away from balconies. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Isabella is going to be tossing wine in people's faces by the end of this thing, just throwing drinks and
slapping and chucking
rending
wine.
People's blouses off of them,
pushing people over short balconies. This is pretty bitchy stuff from this.
Well, it continues. It's the next day, I think, and it is Princess Aswenta's 19th birthday, so they're going to have a big party for her, and Isabella comes in to give her a gift, and Aswenta immediately asks, "What is it? Is it poison?" So that's where their relationship is at the moment.
But still, she's just like, here you are at my birthday party.
Right, yeah. They just both slapped each other yesterday.
Here's one section. I'll read this as I think it should be read, and then I have a question for you. Here's this. I think this is at the party. This is Isabella to Aswenta. Look how lovely you look tonight, Aswenta, my one true friend. I don't think that I have ever seen you look this lovely before. You look just like a princess. You've turned 19 today. You're a young woman now. And that's it. It doesn't say she said sarcastically. The one time. Every other instance of sarcastically is not actually sarcasm.
Yeah, that is.
There's an entire paragraph of sarcasm and nothing.
Dripping with sarcasm, venomous sarcasm.
But no mention of sarcasm. So it was said straight, so I guess.
Yeah. Look how lovely you look tonight.
Oh my gosh, you look lovely.
You look just like a princess, befitting. But then the prize the present she gives her is a necklace made out of a black diamond, and it is in the necklace, the pendant of it is a black widow spider that is made out of a black diamond.
Yes.
And Aswenta says, a symbol of a black widow spider? What a strange gift. What does it mean? And then Isabella, I think you read this answer, you could tell she did not expect to be asked that question because she did not have an answer prepared. It doesn't mean anything, princess. I like spiders. So I had a necklace made in the image of one. Yeah. The black widow spider is such a beautiful creature. Did she buy that?
That was amazing. That she thinks she can give. I was confused by the physicality of that scene because she never actually gives her the necklace. And so here's the end of it. Isabella laughed. Cute princess. That's very cute. I don't know whether that's sarcastic or not. You can be very humorous when you want to be. That sounds a little sarcastic. Sure. This gift is something that I feel you deserve. As she left, she smiled wickedly to herself. Aswenta looked at the necklace one last time. She frowned and then threw the diamond and gold necklace into the trash.
Yeah.
The point being, there was never any indication that she gave her the thing. She's like, what is that? What is that garbage you're giving me? She's like, like you said, I like spiders. What are you going to do? And then as she left, she smiled wickedly to herself. So there was never any transfer, but then Aswenta looked at the necklace one last time and then threw it into the trash. Oh, okay, so you did hand it to her.
Yeah.
But that was never mentioned.
Traditionally, as she was stammering over her excuse of why she picked a deadly black widow to give her. But Aswenta was correct to be suspicious of this ungiven gift because she says, she leaves with her mom and then out of the trash can. It's funny to imagine a trash can in this environment looking like, a standard office trash can.
Yeah, gray. It's got that really thin black lining. They put two of them underneath it so they don't have to put...
Just as they left the chambers of the princess, the pendant of the black widow spider that was in the trash can came to life. It separated itself from the gold chain. It turned into a real black widow spider that had a potent venomous poison in its fangs. It crawled out of the garbage. The black widow spider crawled along the floor, and this is going to delight our longtime listeners, and then suddenly it disappeared right into the floor. It became the floor like Thorn Drumhelder in Shadow Moon.
Yes, indeed.
Luckily for the princess, she never put the necklace around her neck. The poison within the spider was enough to end the princess's life. So that's a exciting little twist there.
Well, the last we'll see of spiders in this book, then, I guess. This is a punctuation and prose coming together for the first time for me. I have a thing about their prose, but I also, why did their punctuation go bad?
Okay.
This is Thomas saying to, I guess, Rebecca. Besides Rebecca, so there's, and then a comma. No matter what you do to yourself, you will always be ugly. Just face it. There's no help for that face of yours.
Yeah. Sloppy.
So that is punctuation and prose coming in one beautiful, perfect. Besides Rebecca, no matter what you do to yourself, you will always be ugly. Just face it. There's no help for that face of yours.
Yeah, really sloppy stuff. Not as Rickles' A game here.
No.
And which he goes on to, Thomas might have I don't know, eaten something. The food might be agreeing, and maybe the lack of sun is sort of getting to him because she calls him.
Yeah.
She says, Thomas, have you looked in a mirror lately? Oh, I forget. You don't have a reflection, you vampire. Sure. But then Thomas replies, so, period. So, at least I don't have to walk around with a paperback over my head. So, yeah, I'm sort of I'm sort of concerned for him. It's it seems like he's, the oxygen is not getting to his brain or something. And then they shut up, Thomas. You shut up, Rebecca. You shut up, Thomas. And then this was a very funny. The other teens all shook their heads and just walked out of the chambers to attend to the celebration. They left Rebecca and Thomas standing there yelling at each other to shut up.
Thomas and Rebecca left the chamber and joined the other teens. As they did, they were still yelling at each other to shut up.
So they're in some sort of loop here. They've a circuit is fried, and they just start, shut up, you shut up, you shut up. You. I
mean, obviously I'll check the dark web and see if they have recreated that moment.
Oh, sure, yes. Must have gone on for a while. That's
Sure.
I'm kind of glad you didn't. That would have been pretty annoying to listen to. But then it immediately goes into this revelation. Kobe, Shamar, Shazar, Donovan, Sean, Victoria, and Edith all joined the teen archaeologists. Rebecca had a crush on Kobe, and he knew it. So that's a good tidbit. He was only 16 years old and never had a girlfriend before. He was very shy and nervous around girls. But he asks her to dance, and she says yes, and then they go and dance. And that's a lot of dancing that happens from here on out.
I'm ashamed to admit it. I probably wept a tear of joy when I read that Kobe, Shamar, Shazar, Donovan, Sean, Victoria, and Edith. Why are we still adding people to this? We have so many characters.
Some of them we've definitely had before. Shamar, I think, is the guy who says man. Donovan, I think, fought Sean in the wrestling match, maybe, or a sword fight. But they do we do start to pair them up. So if you've been shipping any of these characters, I know people have, this is where it starts to pay off. Kobe and Rebecca danced along with 50 other Mopek teenaged couples. So the teens are just being shoveled at us at this point. But Shamar dances with Akita. Edith dances with Sean. And then Donovan said to Samira, that leaves you and me. And they go and dance. So that was delightful because they were the ones I'd been hoping would get together, Donovan and Samira.
And all of this time, by the way, because this comes up another time, I also pointed this out. The dinosaur attacks are happening fairly frequently, but they're just keep having these celebrations.
Yeah, gatherings. I don't know.
I don't know. It just seems dangerous to me. But here's next: 20 Mopek dancers. And this is the prose where I'm just like, what are you doing here now all of a sudden? Okay. Next, 20 Mopek dancers, of which half were women and the other half were men, lined up in front of the ballroom chamber. They all had on beautiful, exotic African dance costumes. So.
Good. We can all picture that, right? I mean...
Africa,
that spans half the globe. It's yes. But yeah, that was very puzzling. 20 Mopek dancers, of which half were women. Man, there's no more artful way to say that. I think there's no
better way.
I also just want to address this because not everyone danced. The Thomas, Adam, and Shazar. Thomas is the younger one, so he's the sort of. He's the one's like, I'm not dancing. That's gross girl stuff. He, Adam, and Shazar went to one of the buffet tables to eat and drink punch. So the punch from a 50s sock hop is something that the Mopek culture has also adopted.
What do you think? It came up a couple times because I think later they're in prison. I'm not giving anything away. They're in prison several times during this thing.
If you're not reading it, you're missing out. That's on you.
Yeah, they bring them punch, I believe. So what is Mopek punch? It actually made me wonder, like, what are they... What's in it?
I mean, how do you make punch if it's not opening a can of, one of those big, like, 2-liter cans that you have to use the church key on to get into?
Yeah, like, polysorbate 30, FD&C red number 4.
Red 5, yeah.
Yeah, what I don't understand.
Flavor, like...
Right. What are they doing? Do they have... they're now calling it corn sugar, right?
I don't know. Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Do they have that?
Yeah, processing facilities for industrial sugaring. I don't know.
Maybe it's artisan-made punch. It could be.
Yeah.
Hand squeezing.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, it just made me wonder. Punch.
Well, yeah. Speaking of hands, though, we do get some more delightful teen-on-teen violence coming up because... Sharquille and Billy have been feuding over Princess Oswenta. They're actually debating. She asked Billy, "Would you mind getting me something to drink?" Presumably punch. And so she doesn't say that because that would have been some fun wordplay. But Sharquille says, "I'll get you a drink too." They both go over there, and Billy's about to get her a drink. Sharquille lifted his fist and punched Billy in the face. So it goes full double deuce now. The two young men started fighting. Billy and Sharquille pushed each other onto the buffet table and knocked some of the food and punch onto the floor. And so they're just doing the whole, like, rolling around, like in a cartoon. Like, there's a dust cloud and there's cartoon curses,
Cartoon swears up above, and the dust cloud.
The Mopek warriors, it takes 2 Mopek warriors to pull off Billy, 3 warriors to grab Sharquille to hold him back. And then it's like your story. I don't know if you told it on Patreon or the main podcast where you got punched in the face at a wedding and then they kicked you out because the guy didn't like you. They kicked Billy and Sharquille out. So Billy gets punched in the face and has been evicted from the birthday party of the teen girl he's sweet on.
It was so close to Sharquille, like, going to Billy, what are you doing here? Like, drinking punch, having a good time. You're too stupid to have a good time. And twisting his cowboy boot and started.
Yeah, I just needed a plate glass window to get knocked through or something like that. The Hef Geely band was playing at Princess Oswenta's.
I did note too the punch thing was like, you just used the word punch. Like, you can't. It's just something as a writer, it's just infuriating. Like, please.
So Oswenta does attempt to, console Billy. It says, she says, like, Sharquille has nothing to worry about. He's such an idiot. And then Princess Oswenta says, "But Billy, you have to see things his way." It's like, what? Like, well, he wanted to punch you, and then he did. Like, that's his way.
Yes. By the way, no punctuation in that sentence. But
Sure.
Billy, you have to see things his way.
True. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. For as much as they put exclamation marks in the first book, they are really holding back on the commas in this one.
And then this is getting very, very tiresome at this point. "I'm sorry, Rebecca. Nothing bad is going to happen, I promise. Come on, let's all go to bed and deal with this tomorrow. Good night, Billy." She turned around and said to Thomas sarcastically, "Good night, stupid." Thomas yelled, "You're the one who's stupid." Billy mumbled underneath his breath, "Oh, brother." He walked away and left the two of them standing there calling each other stupid.
Infinite loops. It's
Stop
not good.
it. Stop it. Stop it.
It's so...
That's the end of a chapter.
And so also just keep in mind, whenever they do that, it's in a British accent too. So it's very refined, stupid calling. Like,
oh, do you think they have, what is give me your British accent again?
Oh, really? Good night, stupid. You're the one who's stupid. Or we could, good night, stupid. You're the one who's stupid.
You're the one who's stupid.
Oh,
You
brother.
and your ugly face. I can't even stand to look at you anymore.
You're calling me ugly? Well, I did get punched in the face by Sharquille there back then at the party.
I'm gonna go clean 3, 4, 5 chimneys or what have you, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kick your backside right
You
up
good
through.
and try it, stupid.
I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna punch you with the punch that I have in my hand. I'm drinking it and I'm also punching.
Try it out on the balcony then. Out on the balconies where we'll fight on the balcony.
Oh, puff a smoke to you.
Apples and pears then.
It's very annoying, but I don't think it stops. That's their one personality trait, and that's what these people think that teenagers do. The only other thing in this chapter I wanted to call attention to was when it says she's saying why Sharquille's so jealous. It says he probably thinks we are going to spend the rest of our lives here. What if he truly believes that you and Aswenta are going to fall in love? Besides, you come from a world that is totally different from theirs. And I just had to stop. Do you? Like, I guess there aren't dinosaurs that carry people off back in, at the London suburb you live in, but you know.
There's no malls, I guess.
Yeah, right. That was the
It's
one
different.
thing they've pointed out. Yeah. The
Otherwise-
Mopec never invented basketball shoes that you have to inflate. That would be
Yeah, you have balconies and punch.
Black
It's
widow spiders.
Pretty similar.
You value diamonds.
Sure.
So, the chapter 9, starts with the Princess Aswenta having a nightmare that we are led to believe is caused by Isabella. She's infiltrated her dream, so she's stepped up her game a bit. You wanted her to, and now she's doing some Freddy Krueger stuff to her.
She left someone alive who can testify against her. I guess she can't because she can't speak. But I do want to be unkind here, and I will.
Sure. Yep.
Princess Aswenta was so tired that as soon as she laid down, she fell asleep quickly. Right? I mean, I hate to be, because I'm sure I've made that mistake many times.
Sure.
But this is a book.
Yeah,
You have to
I'm seeing it right now. It has a red underline in the Google Docs that I'm looking at it in. So, pretty simple fix.
All right, that was my thing. I just wanted to be unkind about that.
But
because earlier they had it and they had it correct. So
wow.
Nice. Anyway, I just don't. All right.
But so Isabella wakes up. She realizes who's been doing this, and I'm sure that this is going to delight you. So I'll just have you read their encounter, I think.
Which one?
Well, it's right down this page. It says, Swenta, Isabella asked innocently, what are you doing in my resting chambers at this hour? It is getting late, princess. You should be in bed. You don't want to get wrinkles on that beautiful face of yours. Sorry, that wasn't sarcastic. This is sarcastic. She asked sarcastically, what's the matter, princess? Couldn't you sleep?
Swenta walked up to Isabella and slapped her in the face. Isabella slapped the princess back.
Yes.
Suddenly, the two of them began to wrestle around the chamber.
Oh, yeah, a little Mopec cat fight here for daddy.
Slapping here.
And is it really suddenly if they start to wrestle after each of them has slapped the other one? It seems like a very logical progression of this. Like, I guess, if you look at it as they were not wrestling and then they are, it sort of has to be. But it seems like there's some decent lead up to that,
Right.
You don't have, I will date myself here with my wrestling knowledge. You don't have Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior punching each other, then all of a sudden one suplexes another. It's sort of, that happens to be the way these things work.
Yes. So do you have, a little farther down, I think we should both do this. Do you have the page there?
Sure, maybe. I have it.
Chapter 9, the middle of the page. Well, I have maybe a different thing.
Okay.
The Mopec warriors who had been hosted outside the princess's chambers.
Sure. Yep.
You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, so several Mopec warriors rushed into the chamber and yelled. So now we have to do it. Yeah. Several at the same time.
Okay.
Princess,
are you all right?
Has
something
happened? So several warriors. So 2 or 3, right? Several.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I think
walk and yell at the same time.
Yeah.
Seems strange behavior. Like, even though I just had a weird nightmare, and that is the weirdest thing that has happened to me all day.
Yeah, it's the Wizard of Oz had the trained like OEO guys, but I mean that was sort of a chant they must have practiced. These guys must sort of just look at each other after that and be like, that was really weird. Like nothing that strange has ever happened to me in my life. Like,
yes. Why did you keep yelling that in the middle when you realized I was yelling it too?
We yelled 2 sentences. Like the odds of that are, I think we might have a black widow that's buried into our brain or something. I like that that Eswenta caught her breath after the cat fight and said, "Stay out of my dreams, Isabella," and presumably stay out of my car as well. That's what you.
Yes.
Stay
out of my dreams.
If it was revealed at that point, that more than halfway through the book, that they do have cars in the Mopek Kingdom, I would just have to tip my cat and call this the greatest book we've ever read. But then that was also a surprising thing. I mean, not as surprising as having cars down here, but Prince Rayshawn has sort of come in and be like, yeah, like what's going on? Like, come on, like break it up, you two.
You mugs, come on.
Isabella felt really bad for what had happened earlier that evening. Comes as a surprise. It's for all the wicked smiling she's doing. I
was honestly baffled at this. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's not. I feel really bad for what happened this evening, Isabella said sarcastically as she smiled wickedly. It's just a straight third-person omniscient view into her soul.
So this, I actually had to read again. This is being unkind, but I'm sorry, their punctuation is infuriating. I had to read this several times, so it's a problem. It's not, I wasn't trying to do this. The fangirl Priscilla was standing behind the prince. Then, like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. The fangirl Priscilla was standing behind the prince. Oh, the fangirl, comma, Priscilla, comma, was standing behind the prince.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can understand. I just dive in. The fangirl Priscilla was standing behind. Oh, there's a new character called Priscilla.
Oh, yeah. God, it's impossible to even parse it as a... I just got so hung up on I imagine Priscilla standing in line outside of the Comic-Con hall, as a real fangirl for
that's the other
Supernatural
part of it too.
Or something.
The fangirl Priscilla. Oh, there's fangirls in this world. The fangirl Priscilla was standing behind, though.
Yes, Machiavelli's the prince. Yes.
Ah! Anyway.
And she was fanning the prince with a gigantic fan made of wicker to keep him cool. So you'll keep in mind we had a feather made out of wicker in an earlier section. So there are wicker artisans down here.
But that was a real eats, shoots, and leaves moment there, I have to say.
It is. We used to diagram sentences in 7th grade English. That would have been a fun one to do. And then the teacher being like, tricked you, there is no right answer for this. This is, right. It's one of those theorems from Good Will Hunting.
Buffalo.
And then it comes up later, though, because Prince Rayshawn, this... So Isabella has written a floating letter. You can compare this maybe to a popular fantasy series that was just wrapping up at this time that sails into his chamber down the chimney or whatever. And he says, everyone get out. And so the fangirl Priscilla laid the gigantic fan down. I guess that's only missing a couple things, but I like that it was it's a gigantic fan made of wicker. So they've really they've really worked that wicker into a substantial object here.
That is I believe that back in the classic Letterman days, they used to have a what is our catchphrase going to be competition.
Okay. And,
Larry Bud Melman would read some, and then they would just have old creepy guys reading stuff. And one of them was an old creepy guy with a weird, music sting at the end of it, of him shrugging and going, "What do you want? Wicker?" And wah, wah, wah. And I believe that won, and so then they had to say it once a week for a year or something like that.
Wow, that would have been a great thing for them to a nod, a little humorous moment to toss at Nick Cage as they were loading him into the statue or something.
Yes.
And that, so essentially what she's written him is a note being we've got this, the throne is within your grasp, the kingdom will be yours, nothing will stop you from becoming king. So I don't know why she's putting these plans down in print because they've talked about it a lot already. But here we are.
And then this happens a lot where I look to the actual physical book to make sure that I'm not just, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
This is contiguous. This is contiguous after that note thing that floats in and then kind of floats back. The next morning at breakfast, King Trajan looked at Billy's face and then he turned and looked at Sharquille's face. They both had bruises and scratches on their face and arms. What happened? The king asked curiously. There was a fight, father, the prince said angrily. Apparently these two idiots, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, yeah, that's contiguous. Apparently these two idiots decided to act like barbarians during the celebration last night, etc. No, the king said, I have something better in mind. Send warriors, blah, blah, blah. Then he does this whole thing. Who's talking here?
Yeah.
And then the king says, I want you to make their journey into the jungle challenging. Use your magic. And then finally, yes, your majesty, Isabella said. That's the first mention of her.
Yeah.
She's the one, I guess, from 3 sentences, 4, 5, 6 sentences above saying, apparently these two idiots.
Well, that could be the prince continuing talking, who is introduced as being there when he starts talking as well.
Right. What is happening?
I'm just like the whole. I think it's very funny that the king missed these two fighting at his daughter's 19th birthday party, like knocking the punch over, punching each other in the face. Yeah, and maybe the teens were doing like the coordinated Thriller dance on the floor or something, so he was distracted. But and also it's like the king has like. He must be sitting there being like, can this not wait? Like, I have to look at Sharquille during my breakfast. Like, there's no other priorities, like briefings going on. Like, what are the rebels up to? That seems like how I should start my day.
Wait, which chambers does he like? He likes the salon and the lounge chairs and stuff. So he's like, at his daughter's 19th birthday, he's at the shrimp bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's somebody tipping over the punch bowl thing, but he's just like eating. He's like, oh, nobody's going after these popcorn shrimp. I'm going to murder these things.
Yeah, he hears a huge commotion and he's like, oh, the last time we had a mass gathering, dinosaurs carried off 3 children.
Right, yeah. So like dinosaurs are like picking
now?
people up and he's like, well, at least there's no dinosaurs.
Yeah. No one cares if I double dip these shrimp in this cocktail sauce.
That's right.
Not that I can't do it anyway because I'm the king, but it's nice to be not called
king.
out on it.
Yes. So he has to. So then, by the way, they're having breakfast. So I assume they're eating like King Vitaman cereal or something. I don't know what are they doing for breakfast.
Yeah, I don't know. They still make Quisp down here. This is great. Like you can still get Yummy Mummy. Like,
yes, Quisp has never been out of production. Is that correct?
Yes. That is no malls, and that's the 2 differences between our societies.
Quake, unfortunately, passed away a while ago.
Oh, I'll tell you, Lois, it's great you could still get Quisp in the land of the Mopek. All right. But so he says essentially, he says there shall be a series of challenges they will compete in. Isabella, I need your help in the jungle challenge. I want you to make their journey into the jungle challenging. So he's, they're having breakfast and he just tosses out the jungle challenge like it's, Richard Dawson saying Fast Money on Family Feud. Like it's something everyone knows about. We're like, oh, we're doing the jungle challenge. Oh, it's been like 3 years since the last jungle challenge.
And immediately everyone is like, hey, I don't know do they do reverse 911 calls or whatever? Please evacuate. Like, bling, your phone rings, it picks it up, and a recorded voice goes, "There shall be a challenge this evening between Sharquille. You must attend. It's compulsory attendance. The king demands it." Yeah. Like, honey,
we know what happened last time there was a challenge. What are the odds that the dinosaurs carry someone off again?
You shall come to the arena. And so they all do. And this just made me laugh of like how quickly this happens. Like the challenge happens. Everyone goes to the arena.
Many of the Mopex. So some of them were like, we were just at the party last night. Like, I needed some. It's Sunday. I need to unwind here. Like,
right. I gotta start making punch at like 5 a.m.
Dumping a lot of grapes. It's
so a build up, and then King Trishan found the challenge very entertaining. Okay, so we're in the middle of the challenge. Sharkwheel was able to use his sword to cut Billy on the arm. Sharkwheel won the challenge. Like, everyone's like dressed up. Like, I put on a tie for this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just over immediately.
Yeah.
I cracked that the cologne you gave me for Christmas. I put that on.
Yeah. I did risk life by making the 3-mile journey because there are a variety of gigantic animals that just burst onto the scene whenever we get here. And man, to be fair though, Sharkwheel had also just pinned Billy in a wrestling match that seemed like it lasted about 5 seconds as well. So they did get double their money's worth there. But then in true Antigua style, part 3 of the challenge, I don't know how the scoring works. You know. It could be like Family Feud where just the third round is whoever wins that wins because they just or Jackbox. They always make the third one like worth 10 times the points, so it doesn't really matter anyway. But Sharkwheel is up 2-0 from having won wrestling and sword fighting. But then he says, I've hidden the princess's diamond tiara in the jungle. You must go retrieve it. So everyone who shows up here to watch, is already sort of annoyed, but they're like, wait, what? Say what? They're leaving? We're just going to sit here in the gym, and then they're going to run into the jungle, and then at some point they'll come back and just hold the diamond tiara up. We don't get to watch a damn thing.
Yeah, no, it's far worse than golf. It would be like Game 7 of the World Series, and they suddenly went, yeah, we're going to go play in a secret parking lot over there.
Yeah.
You cannot. Can we follow you? No. No, we'll come back in and tell you who won. Okay. Wow, it's knotted up at 0-0.
I got a sitter for this.
Inning.
I mean, Mopec babysitters are not expensive. They're not inexpensive. Man, so many diamonds, so much toilet paper I had to pay them.
But bizarre.
They did it in Antigua too. Do you remember?
Yes,
they had to.
That's right.
They flew on their wands through the wizard to like find someone tied up, and people were there watching. They might have done some. I don't remember if they hand waved it or if we said you could have just had a wizard show them on the. I think they might have done that. Like wizards projected what was happening as they rode their wands through the jungle. But they don't do any of that here. And some exciting stuff happens here.
Did we ever settle on whether they stood on the wand or rode it like a witch's broom? We never settled that, did we?
We didn't, and I don't remember if that's again something we imposed or if it really did. But a wand,
they rode the wand.
Yes, a wand is it's the size of a ruler, so I can't imagine.
I don't know. Maybe their wands are bigger. Who knows? Yeah. So finally we get to this. This is where I had to text you. I'm like, wait, what? Several warriors opened up the entrance to the kingdom. I'd forgotten there was an entrance to the kingdom so that the jungle could be seen by all. I feel like there's some obstructed seats where there's no way they could see.
Yeah, really.
In this arena.
Guys who don't have much toilet paper probably had to get there.
The entire arena could see the jungle because
So Jurassic Park, King Kong doors. That's what we're thinking here.
We're thinking King Kong doors. Yes. It was daytime in the kingdom and outside in the jungle. One of my favorite sentences of all time.
Yeah. So it was daytime.
And outside in the jungle. What does that mean?
Well, previously, she said, right over there, the gate is the jungle. Yes, it is daytime, but not in the jungle. So then she immediately proved herself wrong because it was daylight in the kingdom. It was daytime in the kingdom and outside of the jungle.
Okay.
But keep going.
And then...
Suddenly, the sky over the jungle became darkened. It was daylight in the kingdom, but evening in the jungle. She didn't make it too dark, or the two young men wouldn't be able to see.
She allowed the moon to shine in the jungle to lighten it up just enough for them to see without getting lost. What the hell is happening here?
I
we
don't-
are underground.
We're underground, so there was daylight coming
There's
from
a sun
the sun, and then
and a moon.
the moon is now shining in the jungle.
Not no quotes around it. The moon, right? The Earth. When you say, if I say, "Hey, did you see the moon last night?" You don't go, "Which one are you talking about?"
Yeah,
right?
Io from Saturn. I don't know.
You don't do that. You say, "Yes, I know which moon you're referring to." They're saying the moon. Whose moon? What? It's daylight?
Mm-hmm.
What is day? They're underground.
Yeah, this is where we went back. We found 3 different references. It is the underground kingdom of the Mopek. That is how the grandfather presented it. They climbed underground. It was inside a thing. They're underground. End of story. These people should be looking like, naked mole rats or, those fish at the bottom of the, Marianas
eyeless
Trench.
fish. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, but yeah, they have sun and moon. There are day and night cycles. Unexplained. I think they just forgot about how any of this worked or that they were even underground in the first place.
How can you forget that?
Or not even hand wave it away, like we have this one-way glass, so the light does come through, but no one can see it. Everyone just thinks it's the ground, but the light does come through it for us. Isabella did it, the wizard.
I will just point out, I am currently in the middle of writing a book. Maybe you are too. I don't know. I won't say what it is, but I don't suddenly forget.
Exciting news for everybody, by the way.
Yeah, I don't forget what I'm writing about in the middle of it and start writing a different story.
Yeah.
I don't, this is the land of no sun. Boy, oh boy, what a weird place to be in the land of no sun. Oh, the sun sure is hot today. You just don't, wait, what? You're underground. How do you forget that?
I'm starting to think these might not be very good writers, is my real takeaway.
Wow, that is harsh words.
Bold claim, I know. But there every now and then there's something like, this group of people who hadn't had outside contact with society was in the middle of the Amazon or something. That's all you need to do. They're just in the middle of the rainforest.
There's areas that are unexplored. You can just say that.
Yes, where the sun shines and the moon is visible.
It does lead me to a Sonic challenge for you.
Okay.
You probably have something before this, but I'll just give this to you, and you can go back if you need to.
Okay.
Shark Wheel screamed, "What are those?"
Okay.
Billy yelled, "These creatures are presents from Isabella, I presume."
Okay. And for context, what they are doing is that 3 living skeletons jumped out of the from behind several trees.
Yes.
So
the living skeletons, and they
have swords.
We don't really know where they were, but they were somehow they were, I don't know, 100 yards apart, maybe 50 yards apart.
Well, yeah, they're both looking for the tiara, but
they're looking for the tiara in the jungles.
Yes.
And then the skeletons come out, and so this is Sharkwheel.
Sharkwheel.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sharkwheel. Screamed, "What are these? What are those?" You're going to have to back off the mic.
Yep.
And Billy yelled, "These creatures are presents from Isabella." No punctuation. Please do not put punctuation in there.
Okay.
I presume.
Okay. What are those? Those creatures are presents from Isabella, I presume. Yelled the teenagers at each other.
Thank you.
Screaming and yelling. Yeah,
he's presuming when the skeletons are running at him. He's sucking on his meerschaum pipe, which he got the tobacco from his Persian slipper.
Oh yes,
sitting.
These creatures are presents from Isabella, I presume. Some
quite.
pork and walnuts for you.
And then we get this part, which is fantastic. The 2 young men lifted up their swords and started to sword fight with the 3 skeletons. Billy took his sword and chopped one of the skeletons in half. The skeleton broke up into pieces and fell to the ground. There were skeleton bones everywhere.
Tears.
Yeah.
Tears of joy.
When you start to get frustrated with them, then they give you something like that. Skeleton bones.
There were skeleton bones everywhere.
Just pure, 4-year-old joy to read something like that.
Oh, that would be something, yes. If you're, you would tuck that into a folder and put it away, and you'd carry it in a trunk as you moved 3 houses, and then when your son had his wedding, you would pull that out and go, now you wrote this little ghost story on Halloween of 1984, and I just want to read it on the microphone, and everyone at the dais just tears rolling from their eyes like, oh my God.
Yeah, turn it to them. And so, skeleton bones, is there, kind of redundant.
So everyone grab your glass and raise a toast to the man who wrote this sentence.
Yeah, and I will have a little surprise. I did make this arrangement. Since I'm paying for this whole thing, you can get a skeleton bone signature cocktail over at the bar right now. It's just an old fashioned, but we call it the skeleton bone. It's
bartender clanking 2 things together like, I'm ready to make them over here anytime, people.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And so then they see a man in a gray hooded cape. The man was carrying a scythe in his hand. The scythe was made of wood and had a long carved sharp blade on the end of it. That checks out as far as I'm concerned. When Billy and Sharquille looked closer, they realized the creature had no face. So that would be something just personally, I might pick up on that upon first glance, but that required them to sort of like lean in, do the eye rub, take the glasses off, rub it on their shirt before they noticed the creature had no face. I guess they were just too busy verifying the scythe, to verify that it was a scythe by examining it.
Billy Idol was there to help them out. Yes, there's eyes without a face. But
we've gone big on 80s singers named Billy today. That's
we really have. I'll back it down.
Ocean and Idol.
Why is the scythe thing delighted me? Why is it a proper noun? It's capitalized.
It is capitalized both times.
Twice.
3 times. Yeah.
So they're like, hey, whoa! Suddenly, so they like start right. Whoa! There's a man wearing a gray hooded cape. Does he have a face? Not important now. Hang on. He's carrying a scythe. Oh, my God. Wow. Those are sharp and long. And hang on. Okay. It's made of wood. Yes, it has a long carved sharp blade on the end of it. All right. Yes, it is a scythe. Everything is checking out. Oh, my God. He doesn't have a face.
Yeah, very
What a weird discovery mode.
It is. I mean, is it teenagers might not know what a scythe is?
Is that it?
I don't know. Who cares?
But that's the omniscient narrator explaining to their own characters what a scythe is. And then capitalizing it as though it's a thing.
Well, he does swing the scythe at them, missing them by inches. And then it accidentally swung his scythe and it landed in the trunk of a tree, so it's stuck. Very also cartoony. He tries to pull it out, but he doesn't. And then, this is a Sonic challenge for you. Sharquille turned around and saw the creature was stuck. He ran back to destroy it, and then there is a 2-word response Billy says there. It is the first word is Sharquille, the second word is no, and then there is a period. So Sharquille is running to destroy this Grim Reaper, and that is what Billy says.
Oh, wait, the faceless creature was gone?
Right above that, when he says Sharquille no.
Yes.
That's the Sonic challenge, is Sharquille no, as it's written. There's
okay.
There's no
Sharquille
adverb,
turned
there's
around
no punctuation.
And saw that the creature was stuck.
Yeah.
He ran back to destroy it.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to read it like, what's his name in Waterworld?
That's exactly what I thought about.
Okay. Thank you. Sharquille, no.
Perfect.
Did you actually think about my boat?
Of course, my boat.
Wow.
Yeah, just a period there. Like after they burnt them all out at Antigua, I guess. There's no comma or exclamation mark. But it's fine. He didn't have to worry about it because he chopped the creature in half and it disappeared into thin air.
This is a We can't do this, obviously. This is a podcast. This is a drawing challenge.
Okay.
I mean, in my wildest dreams, if our friend Bob Fingerman is listening, that would be great. But, he's got a lot of work to do.
Sure.
He's a working artist, so I don't want to put this on him. But someone, please. Suddenly they both heard a loud scream. They turned around just in time enough to duck down before, and here's the description, an atrocious-looking creature hit them both with his club. It had huge bumps all over its face and body. So not the club, the creature, I guess. It had a nose that was 3 times too big for its face. It had huge ears. Its body was deformed. It was thick and weighed over 500 pounds. It had long claws and it smelled bad. So,
my God. That's
so if you could please just render that drawing, I would very much appreciate it.
Yeah, we need the stink lines. We need it. You need it. However you interpret thick. It's THICK. So,
what's a nose that's 3 times too big for its face?
But also huge ears with no proportion specified.
I feel like Thomas and Rebecca would say that to one another. So it doesn't really. Yeah, well, your nose is 3 times too big for your face.
Yeah, this is just, I think, Larry getting carried away here. Just this needs a little extra spice. This gumbo needs some seasoning here. So let me just throw descriptions at you in a book that's otherwise so devoid of them and so devoid of this. This gets so needlessly specific. It's lovely. And then they reveal, they're swinging their swords. I don't know. Keep him busy. Just keep him busy. Billy ran off and climbed into one of the trees. He climbed up high enough so that the goblin couldn't see him. So it was a goblin the whole time.
Okay.
This is what they were going for. It is I don't know if it's Gozarf the goblin or the Goblin King, whatever he was. But and essentially what you do is you just jump down.
You jump on it.
You strike it with a sword, and it falls to the ground and disappears. So I don't know if these are all hallucinations or magic or whatever, but all of them disappear. Not in a puff of smoke. We get to that later. But
yes.
Yeah.
So, but he says to him, like, hey, keep it busy. I mean, the thing is swinging a club at them, right?
Yes.
So, like, if I'm in an alley, you and I, we leave, Chili's a little too late.
Okay.
We leave through the back alley. We go through the kitchen.
We're Bruce Wayne's parents.
Yes. And the streets are wet. It's always just rained, no matter where you go in a movie at night. And suddenly, like, 4 guys with switchblades come up and, or flick blades, whatever, and start spinning him around and like, ha, give me your wallet. And then I just run and go like, hey, keep them busy for a while. I'm going to go find the fire escape to the roof. And then I'll, so just keep them busy.
How long do I need to keep them busy?
Well, it's sort of hard to say. I have to climb a long way.
Okay, well,
up.
this thing smells really bad, so please try to. And also,
yeah. Well, hang on. I just got to get it. Oh God, this branch is it's in my way. I've got it. Are you keeping him busy?
I am, but I mean, out of that nose that's 3 times too big for its space, there's a lot of gross stuff dripping, and I think some of it's going to land on me. So please, anytime I'm like doing the whole like trick where I pretend like I'm pulling off my thumb, that one, like.
Sure, the bumps all over its body they might be sensitive. See if you can sort of like, push one of those in.
Okay, I did, and it turned out it was an egg sac. So now there are like little
all right.
spiders going everywhere. They do appear to be poisonous.
I am 4
too.
feet up the tree now, so
it's not high enough to jump on these 500
I'm
pounds.
a third of the way there. So
it's very thick too. It's distressingly thick. This creature.
Is it a goblin?
Well, once you get a better vantage point, I think you can check. Oh God!
Yes,
damn it,
I'm 4 feet back down. I fell off of one of the branches. Keep it busy.
Also, in this scenario, within the past 24 hours, I have punched you in the face, as you have then told me to keep busy, and we're in direct competition with each other here.
Hang on, I slipped on a skeleton bone. I'm back down to the base of the tree. Crap.
delightful. Yeah, I'd love to see a rendering of that creature.
Sure.
Also, that's what we get. They see the princess's tiara. They go and rescue it, and then a full-grown lion with a mane shows up, and it does specify.
We've had a lion. Oh, so this is the lion.
We've had a lion that chased him.
From
No,
earlier.
it's not the one from earlier.
Oh, it's
'cause
not
that was
the one
outside.
from
That was that chased them all the way across Africa. I presume it did not then enter the underground civilization, and it's not the pet lion.
We've had another lion.
It's not the lion
lion.
Ashanba. Yeah.
Oh, so it's a different.
It specifically says it did not have the same temperament as the lion Ashanba.
Okay.
And it says this lion was a hunter. Keep in mind, it has the full mane, and male lions are known for doing the hunting. That's something that any given 7-year-old would know. And it says, at that particular moment, Billy and Sharquille were its prey. And then the warriors, led by Nadur, show up, dispatch the lion, and it says, like, yeah, they essentially were fine. They got pushed out of the way. They chased the lion off, and it takes them back home.
And the hunters or whatever, what are they called? The warriors say, "Oh no, we were here the whole time."
Yeah, you didn't really think
King's
the king
not
was
that
gonna,
stupid.
Yeah,
King's not an idiot.
Yeah,
of course.
You did let that 500-pound goblin get pretty close to us, like.
Yes.
And then the king gives him the sort of lecture, like, this journey you took this day had nothing to do with a competition, like I told the two of you. This journey was about honor and respect. It was about teamwork. It was also about forgiveness. Sharquille, when you played that skeleton's bones like a xylophone, that was truly about forgiveness. I was very impressed watching that.
Yeah, the king, like, so they don't say it, but I assume he then gets carried away by a dinosaur that walks like a human.
Yeah. Woo! We got lucky. No one took us away this time. That was really, if you guys had taken much longer, I'm pretty sure we were going to be having people carried off.
A lot of lead burying in this thing here. And by the way, how do you spell lead when you put it down?
Lede?
Yes, right. That's the newspaper way, but they only spelled it that way because it was the only way to say lead.
Okay.
Kind of like, like he flied out to center is not an actual word, but you have to say it because you don't want to say he flew out to center.
Oh, got it, huh?
Yeah. So anyway, lead is just a made-up
Sure,
word.
I don't like it, but I just know that's what you do.
Exactly.
So.
I don't like it either. I'm just saying. I'm just noting that in case anyone. This is Isabella and Aswenda is checking on Yadira,
Good.
the one who was chucked over the balcony.
Yeah.
And so she comes in. This is a couple paragraph scene, and then I just came in to check on Yadira and to make sure that she was all right. Is anything wrong with that? Isabella had her pet albino python snake wrapped around her shoulders. That's like 2 paragraphs in. You kind of buried the lead there, like, oh God, my freaky snake neighbor is coming over. Hide. Close the drapes. Oh, he saw.
Oh, man, God, this is worse than when the parrot guys come over. I guess Larry would like when the parrot guys come over.
Sure.
Yeah, that's insane. So she has only, like, evil pets. She has this albino python, and she's doing, like, the, there was a Britney Spears video where she held one like that. But she is nervous about this, and then it's like, she says it wouldn't hurt a mouse. Essentially. So, this little baby, my snake is perfectly harmless. She's just like a kitty cat. She wouldn't hurt a mouse. And then she responds, cats eat mice, Isabella. Besides, she's not so little and she certainly isn't a kitty cat. To which Isabella responds with one of the greatest moments in the book. She says, Isabella laughed and said, oops, you're right. My bad.
But the line you just read, they said, Aswenta said sarcastically. I honestly don't understand what that means.
She's that in that case it
Cats
means like
eat mice,
annoyed.
Isabel.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Wait, what?
She would hurt a mouse. Cats eat mice, Isabella. Like bitterly, like Not sarcastically. It's
Okay.
You're correct. It's
All right. I was trying to parse that as it actually read, and it does not make any sense. Okay. All right. I will let that one go.
Yeah.
Sarcastically is just a tick. That's fine.
And then so she leaves with her snake, and then Princess.
Oh, did she have a snake? Oh, yes, she did.
Yeah,
She had a
once now that you
giant
mention
albino
it, it was
python around her shoulders.
Not sure where she keeps that. Like they don't probably have tempered glass reptile tanks or anything down here. It just like roams free in her chambers, I guess.
They have a glass factory down there. They have to,
okay.
right?
Yeah, I guess
right,
so.
right under where the moon is, over by Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, map. We need a map of the land of the Mopek. And then when she leaves, Aswenta says, Yadira, she's gone. Do you hear me? And then it says Yadira wouldn't answer. She was too scared to speak. So I guess she has got her voice back.
So she does. Yes,
is
that's
not
what
speaking
she
because
does
she's
have her voice
terrified.
back. Yes.
And
then the tarantula is unleashed on her.
Yes, Isabella also has another evil pet, a tarantula.
Okay, so she likes black widows. She thinks are beautiful. Tarantulas, she just
are sweet. She says she's lovely and sweet.
Sweet.
So,
Okay. The tarantula crawled underneath the covers, and when it reached Yadira's right big toe, it bit her so hard she woke up and screamed. Are there levels? I mean, I guess there are.
Of tarantula bites?
Of bites? Some are like not so hard.
This one's
Some
like a
are
big
gentle bites.
Her jaw unhinges like 180 degrees, and then she clamps down on it.
I guess. Bit her so hard
on her right big toe. So again, some of that needless precision we're so fond of here.
So it crawled up there. Okay, all right. I was just hung up on bit her so hard. It made me laugh. I don't know.
And so her scream. So I guess she does have a voice. Maybe in the parsing of that, screaming could not be the same as talking. Who knows? The maidens Lily, Ebony, Delilah, and Bethany ran into Yadira's chamber. It's the second and final Bethany appearance, I'm sad to report. But she pulls the covers back. As she was pulling the covers back, the tarantula disappeared. And Ebony said, Yadira, there is nothing there. You crazy lady.
Oh, Ebony said that. Not Delilah or Bethany or Lily.
Yeah, Lily and Bethany don't get lines in this scenes. Delilah says, Yadira, what's wrong? And Ebony says, Yadira, there's nothing there.
Okay.
So I don't know. Bethany's probably just hanging back, like looking at her phone, being like, this is not a four-maiden job. This is... Come on.
The spider didn't even bite you that hard. Like, no, I'm telling you, it bit me really hard.
On
That's
my
why
right
I screamed.
big toe.
Hey, here comes your master. Do you want it? No, I'm too scared. Never mind. I'm going to stop speaking. Okay.
This was submitted, I believe, twice for Real or Fanfic, and I don't know. I wanted to save some stuff to come across it.
Oh, good.
So,
I certainly would have bit.
But speaking of, let's do it Real or Fanfic right now.
Fanfic. Real fanfic.
All right, so this is Real or Fanfic, our segment where our beloved Patreon listeners try to fool you with either sections from the final section of Mopek. It's a little longer section, but I think it makes sense to do this as the final one. Or fanfic that they've written themselves. And this book has, I think has been 50%.
Yes, this book is a challenge. I mean, they all are. What am I? I'm like I said, I'm hovering just above 50%. Right?
Yeah.
Coin toss area.
But this one's a special kind of understanding the voice and everything, and they've done a good job. So that's
for sure.
At patreon.com/372 pages. Every episode's early, and we have other fun stuff there that you only get there. So please go and check it out if you want to support the podcast. We have 5 today, as usual, and here's number 1. The men got their weapons ready and waited. The gigantic creature yelled out and then reached down and picked up one of Sebastian's men named Walker. The gigantic gorilla threw him up in the air and across the jungle. He screamed out as he flew through the air. The creature took the back of his left hand and knocked Sebastian's men, Waldo, Aaron, Madison, Magnus, Dallas, Vadimus, Jason, Ignacio, and Baldwin into some trees. It banged its fists against its chest. It took both its fists and banged them on the ground so hard that the ground shook. The creature then pulled a very large tree up from its roots and threw it at Sebastian's men Fabian, Pablo, Hamilton, Ulrich, and Wade. It knocked the men into the jungle with the large tree.
I mean, I love it, but it is fanfic.
Number 2. The lion Ashtaba and the black tiger began to fight. The lion Ashabta and tried to bite the black tiger. The black tiger tried to call the lion Ashabta. The chimpanzee Patua threw a soda can at the black tiger. It hit the black tiger on the nose, and the black tiger ran away. Thomas said, "Patua, he saved the day." Rebecca said sarcastically, "You were so dim you could not even save the night if you tried." Thomas shouted, "Shut up, Rebecca!" Suddenly, an alligator rose from the pond and charged at Rebecca. "Thomas, help me," Rebecca shouted. The alligator had teeth like knives, and it roared like a dinosaur as it charged Rebecca. The chimpanzee Patua threw a soda can at the alligator. It hit the alligator on the nose, and the alligator ran away.
What is the soda can thing? What is happening? I mean, it's either genius. All right. I'm going to give the fanfic person credit here, and I'm going to call it real.
Wow!
Soda can.
All right. Number 2.
Because that's it. Someone would see that, and then they'd go, Mike is obviously going to.
All right. So there's a canning facility. Number 3. I'm sorry our teens have caused you such trouble here in the land of the Mopek, said Anthony apologetically. No, I am the one who needs to say sorry, replied King Trishand. My pride and fear is what put the land of the Mopek in danger. Your children saved our kingdom. They are real heroes. From here on, they will be known as heroes of the land of the Mopek. Tomorrow we will hold a feast celebrating the victory over that witch Isabella and her dinosaurs. The next day the great feast was held. There were many musicians playing traditional Mopek songs, Mopek warriors displaying their battle prowess, dancers, jugglers, and many other entertainers. King Trishand, Queen Rashinda, and Princess Aswenta approached the gathered crowd of people. For their bravery, I am officially making Billy, Thomas, Rebecca, Samira, Adam, and Akita honorary princes and princesses of the Mopek, declared King Trishand. Princess Aswenta and Queen Rashinda smiled at the teens. Several maidens came out carrying tiaras for the girls and crowns for the boys. Really? I'm going to be a real princess? Yelled Rebecca excitedly.
That is lovely as well. I just wondered what would traditional music of the Mopek music be like. Higher on the mountain, run, boys, run. Devils in the house of the rising sun.
Your Charlie Daniels band is...
Your Mozart. He belongs to the world. I gotta say fanfic.
Okay.
I mean, again, coin flip.
Okay, number 4. Sorry. Oops, lost my spot. Nadir said, "We are here. You must go quickly. Do not come back. You are not welcome here. If you ever return to the land of the Mopek, I shall destroy you myself." "Listen, my friend," Anthony said. You could tell that he was annoyed. "My family and I have no more desire to return to your land. We gave our promise to your king, and we shall honor it. We promise to never return to this place or reveal its location to anyone. We will keep our promise. We shall not return to the land of the Mopek." Anthony turned to the others and said, "Let's go. Benjamin, you and your men go first and make sure everything is safe. I will send Babatunde, Jabril, Elizabeth, and the kids up next. I will be last." Benjamin whispered sarcastically, "That fellow Nadir is a friendly type of guy, isn't he?" "I don't know about that, but he seems to be a real jerk to me," Anthony said sarcastically.
Wow. That is very timely. I just shared that. I mean, that guy is a real jerk. I just shared that with a friend last night. I would like to point out, by the way, speaking of Billy's from the 80s, Anthony works in the grocery store.
Wow. All right.
Night he becomes a bartender. I don't know, man. Fanfic.
All right. And now here's the last one, number 5. The prince handed the bottle of poisoned water to Boltar, who slipped it into his pocket. Everyone arrived at the dining chamber for the meal. Prince Rayshawn signaled for the royal tasters Boltar, India, Idalia, Zulu, and Shalazar to begin tasting all of the food and drink. Boltar pretended to taste the bottle of poisoned water, but he really didn't. No one saw him except Princes Aswenta and Billy. They both knew immediately that the bottle of water he was holding so closely to his body was the poisoned drink meant for King Trishand. They both looked at each other with a look of acknowledgement.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Well, you know what? This is the last one, so let's toss caution to the wind and call that real.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Boltar. All right. So here we go. Number one was gigantic gorilla knocking Sebastian's men Waldo, Aaron, Madison, Magnus, Dallas, Vadimus, Jason, Ignacio, Baldwin, and additionally his men Fabian, Pablo, Hamilton, Ulrich, and Wade.
Yes.
You said fanfic. That is real from later.
Come on.
So Sebastian's men, we'll find out.
Wade?
Wade, Waldo, Ulrich, like Skeet Ulrich, Magnus.
I've always wanted to try you. Wade? Isn't Wade a Roadhouse character?
Yeah.
I assumed someone was just baiting me with Wade. Come on.
So that's good. Number two was Black Tiger attacking a lion, and then Alligator charging Rebecca, both deterred by Patua the chimp throwing soda cans and hitting them in the nose. You said real for that. That was fanfic written by Jory, who I'm sure was not expecting that one to trigger a real. That one just seemed like, you talked yourself into a logical loop of it's so absurd that, like, why would someone even think they could fanfic me with that? But it must be real. 0 for 2. 0 for 2.
Zeros.
Number three was...
like the Arizona Diamondbacks here, huh, Ed? Wow.
Here's number three was they get made princess and princesses. I'm going to be a real princess, said Rebecca. That's all to Anthony. You said fanfic for that. That is fanfic written by Lan. So 1 for 3.
333. Okay.
Number four was that guy Nadura seems like a real jerk. You said fanfic. That is real from later. Submitted by Alex, who said he was only submitting it because of the Norm Macdonald real jerk connection.
No. Oh, this is a bloodbath. Oh, my God.
And then last was the Royal Food Tasters Boltar, India, Idalia, Zulu, and Shalazar. Somehow you said real for that, and it is real from later. So we get Royal Food Tasters.
What do you mean somehow?
Poisoned water. And then the great sentence, they both looked at each other with a look of acknowledgement. It's just incredible. Incredible. So 2 for 5. 2 for 5.
Oh, brutal.
Rough stuff.
Ugh, I had a tough day at the plate.
Let's continue in chapter 10.
Okay. You know what? I don't even feel bad about that.
It's impossible stuff.
It's impossible. It's literally impossible. Chapter 10 is Stephanie. Great character.
Lady Stephanie, yes. She is. Stephanie. I had to look it up. It is the prince's fiance.
And this is really, she comes on here, right? Are we, 3/4 of the way through the book?
Probably at this point in time.
Yes. Okay, so...
Or 3/5 for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So Stephanie gets confronted by, I think it's Aswenta, right? Here's a sonic challenge. I might have to send you the paragraph, which I'm happy to do.
Okay.
But see if you have it here. It's towards the beginning of the Princess, what are you trying to do? Yep. Do you have that?
When Stephanie has become angry and frightened at the same time.
Yes. It's a sonic challenge. Stephanie
I want to give some context there to what's happening.
Yeah, please do.
Isabella has turned into Stephanie. And
that's correct.
She goes and she talks to Prince Rayshawn and reveals herself to him, and he gets angry at her for using magic. Then it immediately cuts to Princess
and then it's
Swenta
over.
and
it's
Lady
just
Stephanie
over. Yes.
At a gazebo, and they do not specify whether. I don't believe it is still Isabella as as Lady Stephanie.
I think that was just a little vignette. of like, I can turn into Stephanie, apparently.
Yeah.
But I only do it, and, like, don't ever do that again. That was mean. Like, okay, I won't. That was fun.
Yeah.
I guess it's like giving someone a Black Widow
Sure.
diamond
A nice
thing.
little trick.
Okay. So the Sonic challenge is Stephanie became angry and frightened
God.
at the same time. And then there's a paragraph that you have to read as angry and frightened at the same time.
Okay.
And it's not short. So I'm just telling everyone, get ready.
Right. You suffered a humiliation minutes ago, and now I will do one as well. So,
Princess, what are you trying to do? Why do you hate your brother so? He's done nothing to you. Why are you trying to destroy him? Are you that greedy, Princess? Are you trying to steal the throne from your brother? It will never work. He's too powerful to let you destroy him. I shall stand by my prince and not even tell you that you should take him away from me. Rayshon loves me and is planning to marry me. The two of us shall rule someday as king and queen of the Mopek Empire. Isabella's flirtation is innocent.
Whoa, Stephanie, calm down. All I said was, my God, what is wrong with you?
yeah, it sounds like you're having some sort of panic attack or heart
You're
attack.
in your own world. I didn't even. Jeez.
Yeah. This is
You
so
sound
out of
angry
character for you,
and
Stephanie.
frightened.
This is so unlike everything we know about you.
Everything. The paragraphs about you never, ever mentioned that you would act this way. That is incredible. Stephanie out of nowhere appears and reads a
Hamlet-esque monologue,
Yes.
a soliloquy. So Stephanie comes on strong here, and the whole thing was provoked by her saying, your fiance, Prince Rayshon, is, shacking up with Isabella, and they're scheming to take this over. And Stephanie will not hear it. She does not believe her, as everyone does, refuses to believe Aswenta in this next coming section. But Lady Stephanie doesn't have a ton of self-respect. She says, do you want to be banished forever from the kingdom? I could never survive. I am a lady, and that is all. So she doesn't see herself hanging with the rebels if she's ever exiled.
But she's also like, she comes out of nowhere, right? Stephanie is just like, she's the fiance she's mentioned once. And she becomes the most loquacious character. Love the word loquacious. The paragraph you just read, right below it is, Aswenta says something else, and she goes, no, I don't believe you, Aswenta. I will not help you. I've waited my whole life. Like, hey. And it goes on. I'm not kidding you, for like 17 more sentences.
Yeah, she's doing like an ESPN talking head rant,
Yeah, like, you don't need to. There's no reason to make this long. Like, I gotcha. I know what you're saying. It's incredible. Out of nowhere, she appears and just gets as chatty as any character who has ever been in a Larry and Denise book. I'll say that.
And she also has has a doppelganger too. So she has a big start of the chapter, and then it immediately transitions away from her to a stunning sequence. This is Isabella is strolling through the gardens where children are playing. She saw several of the local children playing around the gardens. So none of the children who aren't from the land of the Mopek.
Right.
They were playing hide and seek. Tyler, who was 11 years old, yelled, Rasheen, you're it. And then so Rasheen starts to count to 10, and Tyler, Jessica, Jennifer, Caligula, Abdul, Ananda, Lucas, and Kareem all ran and hid. I don't know where they got these names from. Caligula is just, you would not have believed that for a second in real or fanfic, I think.
I just wrote Ellis perfection because the next sentence is, they hid behind trees, behind bushes, and behind wheel barrels. Perfection.
It is perfection. I had to look up the other two mentions of wheelbarrows. As the men were sword fighting the night, Sir Vladimir knocked Sean over a wheelbarrow. Vladimir then picked up the barrel and threw it on top of the man and knocked him out. So it was a barrel. And then Trina hit Anthon's stick so hard and so fast that he started to back up. He backed up too far and fell over a small wheelbarrow. So wheelbarrows are just all over these kingdoms and appear to be barrels that might have wheels on them, since you do pick them up and throw them at people.
I just want to point out again, just so that people understand, this is a land. When was it isolated from the above ground world? Did they say?
I mean, no one has ever been there, I don't think.
I mean, I don't know. I'm very poor about my knowledge of the Egyptian kingdoms, but I'm assuming this is BC, right?
Oh,
when they went underground.
Yeah. I mean, because they have that pyramid there, so that's sort of their cover, I think.
Yeah. So let's say it's. I don't know. I'll let others figure that out. But the names again: Tyler, Jessica, Jennifer, Caligula, Abdul, Ananda, Lucas, and Kareem are the kids.
Amazing.
So
there
you go.
And unfortunately, these kids have sort of an ill-fated thing going on here, and so I started tracking the phrase once I realized it was going to be happening a lot.
Oh yeah.
So they hide, and then Isabella says, "Hey, Rasheen, you were counting, you were it, but you run and hide too, and I'll try to find you all." Rasheen walked past her and then began to run so she could find a hiding place. Isabella turned around, pointed her finger at Rasheen, and yelled, "Dashana!" Suddenly, Rasheen disappeared. All you could see was a puff of smoke. Isabella smiled wickedly. She found Tyler. He had been hiding behind a tree. Isabella pointed her finger at him, and suddenly he disappeared. All that you could see was a puff of smoke. I thought this was. You said the other one was pure Ellis. I thought this was maybe the most Ellis sentence of all time, but it's based on the same thing. She walked past a wheelbarrow and could sense with her wickedness the presence of Jessica, who was 11, Jennifer, who was 10 years old, and Caligula, who was 13, hiding. Undiagrammable, 3 different ages, 3 different ways of saying that ages, and sensing all that with her wickedness.
Wow.
She pointed at her finger, made them all disappear, does not specify that there was a puff of smoke. She came across Abdul, who was 13, Ananda, who was 12, and Lucas, who was also 12, as they hid behind some bushes. She could hear them making noises and moving around behind the bushes. She pointed her finger at them, and suddenly Abdul, Ananda, and Lucas disappeared. All you could see was 3 puffs of smoke. She finds Kareem. He is hiding behind another wheelbarrow, so that is 3 wheelbarrows in one scene. They're in the wheelbarrow district. She says, sarcastically, "Are there any other children hiding around here? I wonder if there are any other children hiding around here. Let's see." She pointed her finger at a nearby tree. The tree disappeared, and all you could see was a puff of smoke. Then she pointed her finger at a nearby bush. The bush disappeared. All you could see was a puff of smoke. And then Kareem starts running, and she ran from behind the wheelbarrow and tried to escape. He wasn't fast enough. As he ran through the garden, Isabella pointed her finger at him. He disappeared.
What was left behind?
Why does he get no smoke? Kareem.
So that's fantastic. And then it says, after a couple of hours, the 9 children's families began looking for them. And then, do you want to read who alerts the royal family about this?
Okay, so I'm trying to track this. I'm just going to back up a little bit. So she walks through the garden. She sees Mopek kids playing an innocent game. She, I guess, murders them all. I don't know, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, they all disappear in a puff of smoke.
They disappear, and we'll find out their fate in a moment. A couple hours passed. The 9 children's families began to look for them. Mm-hmm. Tex ran to the palace to notify the guards that 9 children in the land of Mopek were missing. He ran up to the entrance of the palace.
Different than the entrance of the kingdom.
Tex. So, I mean, I guess he's a father? It does not say.
It does not say, yep. But he's frantic, and...
he's frantic about the 9 families, children, who are missing.
The 9 children's families.
In puffs of smoke. Some of them behind a tree. Presumably a tree was also killed in this thing.
Yep, tree and a bush disappeared in puffs of smoke.
Yeah, okay.
But Tex, I mean, you know.
Tex.
Get out my way, guard! Our rootin' tootin' children are missing.
If I don't get my dang youngins back, There's going to be hell to pay.
And he tells Abdullah, who is one of the guards, who goes to tell the head warrior, Nadur. And I thought this was interesting because he says, what's going on? Why are you here? Why have you abandoned your post? Abdullah replied, informatively, my lord, 9 children have vanished. So I think informatively is the opposite of non-caringly.
Yes. Yeah. That tracks.
But then we get this from Tex. He says, it's true, Prince. One of the missing children is my very own son, Lucas. My lord, he is only 12 years old. So I thought at first I was like, who is Tex's lord? Do we think? But then I guess he's telling that to the prince, so he's calling the prince that. I don't know who they're worshiping down here. But then they start searching for him. They search every home and they go to him. And after days of searching, they finally gave up.
And then, okay, so it's kind of a big deal. Like 9 children disappear while playing hide and seek. Obviously. So it's a big deal. They're still working on the case of the dinosaurs carrying people away. So that's still, that's an active investigation as well. But then this description is so bizarre. So all of the families and a bunch of the people, like most of the Mopacs, file into the big chamber, right? Where the king is sitting. And there's guards there, and then they file Isabella past.
Okay.
And she says, Isabella, does a thing where she shows the children in a blue ball, right?
Blue ball of flame.
And Isabella said, I'm sorry, I can't bring the image back. It is simply gone. My magic was unable to determine exactly what has happened to the missing children. I can't help you. I'm so sorry. Everyone left the chamber with saddened hearts. What is happening?
I think they called her to do the Wicked Witch looking in on Dorothy type of thing, but she just showed them playing hide and seek and said I can't do anything.
So the king summoned, she was under, a guard came and got her, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, hey, well, here's a blue ball. Look at those kids. Don't they look happy? But they were all standing in the big ballroom where they had the competition earlier.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I'm not sure, like you said before, obstructed view seating, what
kind of facility is this?
Caligula's mom is trying to push her way to the front and being like, Tex, what I couldn't see it. What did they show?
Now, you calm down there. Hang on 1 second.
Don't worry your pretty head, darling.
Slapping his cowboy hat against his dirty jeans as the dust comes off of them. Tex, please.
Yes, it's not the time. Everyone has saddened hearts. And then it just moves on to the next day to the queen is having tea type of thing. So I don't know if these kids are ever coming back. They're all dead. As far as we know.
What is this? This one baffled me. I do not know what's going on.
This is where I started to think hey, ever since these outsiders showed up, 9 kids have gone missing. 3 others have been carried away by dinosaurs. At what point do you just say these evil presences need to be sacrificed to avenge, whatever, evil they've wrought by entering our plane? Things were going okay before this.
We need to sacrifice something to our great god Tex, who we obviously name other people in honor of the god Tex.
So yeah, I thought things were probably not looking well for our heroes here. I guess our heroes, they're not really the focus of the book anymore, but
the teens.
Yeah, the teens. But so it goes into essentially Princess Aswenta trying to convince her mom that the prince is plotting against the king. Queen, of course, doesn't believe her.
The queen mother.
The queen mother is also there, doesn't believe her. And then,
why do we have to have a queen mother?
But then that was sort of tiresome to me. But then there's another sort of Princess Isabella and Princess Cat fight. But they don't.
Oh God, these repeated beats.
They don't do. They say they ban magic. And then
Both young women walked over to the wall and picked up their favorite swords. They held their swords up in the air and just stared at each other. The two women began to sword fight. How many times have they walked up to the walls and picked up their favorite swords by now?
That probably
6, 7, 8 times.
as many as they've stormed in or out of a chamber, at least.
God.
And then this was a good exchange. Just Isabella raised her hand and started to use her magic to hurt the princess. Remember, Isabella, you gave your word that there would be no magic. Isabella lowered her hand. So I'm glad she's willing to, abide by that. Like, she's plotting to overthrow the entire royal family, but I guess there is a code to these matters. So,
this is great though. So they're fighting with their swords, and then oh, no magic. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. Princess Aswenta might not have been a better sword fighter than Isabella, but she definitely was better at using the short dagger and her fists. Aswenta was not only able to knock the short dagger out of Isabella's hands, she was also able to knock her to the ground. I guess I'm not as young as you thought I was, Aswenta said sarcastically. Isabella raised her hand and started to use her magic, and then she stops her from the magic. But fists and a dagger? I'm trying to imagine that. I was thinking of the fight in, what was it, Eastern Promises?
Oh, sure. The naked knife fight?
Locker room fight, wasn't there knives and piano wire and shit?
Yeah, that or...
these two with daggers and hitting each other in the face. Doesn't the dagger isn't that going to kind of cause some damage as well?
Well, yeah, you're using your offhand for one of them, so how you decide to do that? Or you're tied together like the Bad video.
It just feels like that would be the most savage fight you've ever seen in your life.
Well, Isabella does come up with a busted lip, it says.
Yes, that was another lead buried.
By the way,
so
she busted her lip.
fists and daggers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Someone's coming back with a slashed to pieces face. It did. Princess Aswenta, I guess, won. And so when she left the chamber, Isabella was furious. She screamed out loud to herself. So that's nice. And she points her hand at a statue, which explodes into 1,000 pieces.
Yes, the dagger went into a statue.
Oh yeah, she threw it across the room.
Oh, it landed. Sorry, there it is. I have it here. It landed right into one of the statues. It landed? What?
Yeah, maybe the statue has been knocked over already. Maybe it's the statue of that king who was assassinated, and we don't know why, and he's never been mentioned.
Yeah,
again.
oh, that's right. I forgot about it.
And then Princess Aswenta talks to the king and says, they're trying to depose you. And he says, words can cause just as much harm as a physical attack. Words are like a virus. They can creep through the kingdom and spread from person to person until they affect everyone in the kingdom. We do have germ theory here, by the way.
That's exactly what
we understand how viruses work.
They have virology in Mopac.
The physician Jefferson made some big advances. So that's good.
Yes, we have electron microscopes. We haven't, virology is in its infancy here. It's only several thousand years old.
We did have a bad case of gorilla pox recently, though. That 500-pound gorilla, he spread some nasty stuff.
That's why we have those gates up to keep out the viruses. I think we have a pretty clear understanding.
We pinned it on the rebels. That's why they're exiled.
Yes.
And he, of course, says, get out of here. How dare you talk about your brother? I don't know what she has to do to get through to people at this point in time. She had her handwritten note at some point, but maybe it disappeared.
I don't know. The king does not. He's not a great character. Treshand?
King Treshand, yeah, or Treshand.
Treshand, yeah. Him hanging out. He's basically getting oiled rub downs.
Yeah, grapes are being
by prostitutes
and
and stuff.
Yeah.
He's not a great character.
And Thomas has never called him King Trash Can. That seems like it'd be right along his. I guess he doesn't want to die. But
it also seems like the king is terrible, ineffectual. He's letting his people get killed, and there's a guy named Caligula in his kingdom. I was like, I don't know, not a very good king. Oh, shut up, Caligula.
Yeah, too bad none of the kids was dancing with their horse at that dance with the. That's the senator horse. Chapter 11 is pretty eventful, and we've also gone really long. But there's some things we just have to discuss.
Yeah, we probably should discuss it.
Number one is that I missed this, but Patua, the chimp, became Rebecca's
Is that
pet?
how you're pronouncing that?
Patua. Pautuuh.
A lot of ways to go with that.
Yeah. So this is something to keep in mind as this sort of scene continues to play out. Rebecca had her new pet chimpanzee Patua in her arms. She whispered, "I'm going to the boys' chambers. I want to leave the land of the Mopek tonight." So as the rest of this plays out, she is carrying a chimp. I don't know if it's a baby. I don't know how full grown it is, but she's she sneaks out of the chamber. They go, because the warriors are not guarding it. They go to the boys' chamber and says, like, "Billy, we can't stay here." She's still holding the chimp. Billy agrees. Says, "Let's go home."
So it's like an 80s, keep on trucking kind of TV show. Well, that guy's got a chimp with him. Yep, that's my sidekick.
Yeah, they don't even bother to disguise it in traditional African garb, as they would say, and try to sneaking it out of here. But it says they're sneaking out. Rebecca was still holding her baby chimpanzee Patua up in her arms. So they're actually reminding you, which is something they do not tend to do in this book. But of course they get caught. It says, take them back to the chambers and lock them in place. Warriors outside their chambers to ensure nothing like this happens again, which is where I thought we had been starting from. I thought that was sort of the baseline here of that there were warriors here. But
right. I was surprised when I think the first time they just wandered up to that class.
Oh, right. Yep.
Where they were like, "You are a threat to our kingdom. You must never leave." Like, okay. And then chapter 3, the teens wandered around the kingdom. Okay. This made me laugh out loud. I think this is during the chimp. It's one of the escapes, right? Mm-hmm. There's 4 in this chapter. I got a little frustrated with that. "I have to admit it," Thomas said. "Rebecca is right. I never agree with anything that Rebecca says because she's an idiot. But Billy, we can't stay here." Can't you just let it go for the moment?
Really, yeah.
The parenthetical "because she's an idiot" is just one of my favorite things.
She's a hideous ghoul, but sure, we should really get back home. It has been months.
Really
our parents probably have cashed in our life insurance policies.
Yeah.
So this is also good. They kick him back into the chamber. Rebecca's still holding the chimp. Nador said out loud through the closed doors, "Now let's see the intruders try to escape." So it's just not something you usually have to add when you're talking about a character saying something to another character. And I guess they probably confused it with him saying it loudly through the doors so that they could hear him. But
I guess so. But this is Nador, just I think one sentence earlier. A great way to ask if you can murder a bunch of teenagers. Nador lowered his sword and bowed his head to the king. "My lord, we caught these intruders trying to escape from the palace. They have disobeyed your orders, my king." No punctuation. "They must be dealt with. Let me destroy them now." Sure.
Yeah.
What is it? 6 teenagers?
Possibly, yep. Adam Makita, yeah.
Murder them all.
Yeah, a bunch of corrupts have failed since they've been here, so I do suspect them of witchcraft or something.
Do you want to take them over to Dinosaur Island? They'll probably take care of itself. No, let me just destroy them here.
I'm gonna have fun with this. I'm not well. So then it says one afternoon. So time is amorphous. Who knows how that's it? But time has passed. The warriors got a little careless. They get hungry. Abdul and Kareem wander off.
I wondered if the Swiss guard does that with the Pope.
Yeah.
The Mopek warrior Abdul whispered, "Kareem, I'm starving. Let's take a break and go get something to eat." You have one job.
Yeah, and it's guarding 3 teenagers. There's nothing, it's as easy as could be. It's a make work job here, they definitely don't need 2 guys to do this. So,
and they're locked in, right?
Yes, that's true as well. Well, okay. I don't know. They're able to get in and out the doors. They do the lean out the hall, and all 3 of their heads poke out one above another, and they look.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm mixing up 2 of the the
Of the
escapes
imprisonments, yes.
in this particular section.
So they do sneak out again. This is the second time they sneak out. They go to get the boys. Nobody saw them leave because they were all too busy preparing for and celebrating the great hunt that the Mopek people celebrated each year in the jungles. So sure.
Jungles,
Oh yeah, multiple
plural jungles.
Yeah,
There's more than one.
Mopeks presumably using the same calendar as the people on Earth, even though that was developed, after the civilization went underground. Once outside, this is the part where I have some questions. So we have our 3 English teenagers. We have the 3 Nigerian teenagers they came with, and we have the Mopeks who live underground in Egypt. Once outside, the teen archaeologists blended in with the other inhabitants of the kingdom of the Mopek. No one noticed who they were. Yeah, do you think there might have been a little bit of a tip-off? Just like, different dress, different, complete different skin color. It probably you might have stood out a bit.
It probably came up. But this is an incredible thing to notice in the middle of all this. The head warrior, Nadur, was with them. Once out in the jungle, the team of Mopek warriors broke up into 20 groups of 15 each.
Okay.
They headed off in different directions. Who notices 20 groups of 15 each? Is that a thing you would just go like, oh, I see what they're doing there. Yeah, they're breaking off into 20 groups of 15.
Maybe if they lined up by in 3 by 5 or something, like a weird formation, a phalanx.
Yeah, didn't we just do that
counting
video
short?
where the scouts came and they're like 1, 2, and they counted off but
10.
that one took 12 minutes, and this just seems that's a very odd detail to notice or to put down.
But it also, a few sentences earlier, it says the teens looked towards the front entrance to the kingdom and noticed a team of 30 Mopek warriors with their swords at their side. So once out into the jungle, the team of Mopek warriors broke up into 20 groups of 15 each. So there's either some math or some multiplicity stuff going on there.
Well, earlier they said something about the schools, and they said there were 26 total. Right. And then they said they lined up into 2 groups of 26 each. So
yeah.
Something weird's going on in Mopek land.
There's some good map-making stuff here. I'll just read it quickly. When they walked to the front entrance of the kingdom of the Mopek, they had to pass through Princess Aswinta's private zoo. They passed through the gardens of the palace. They passed several swimming pools and several hot springs. They passed through the marketplace, so there is commerce, over 2 bridges to get to the front entrance. And then they hid in some bushes by the front entrance so that no one would see them. And the way that this whole journey, the hunt gets broken up because there's a fight inside the kingdom between 2 Mopek warriors. And so all the 20 groups of 15 go back inside, 30 groups of 15. Mm-hmm. And then they're attacked by a gigantic wild boar was running straight toward them. It was running toward them so fast that there was no time for them to escape. They were too scared to move. Nadur and his Mopek warriors chased a wild animal away with their spears. The gigantic, this is all, those sentences are back to back. The gigantic wild boar ran off into the jungle. Nadur and the Mopek warriors had saved the teen archaeologists' lives.
I think that was real or fantasy.
Was it?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, good. And then he, Nadur has expressed his desire to, destroy them, but then he just brings it back to the king. And I was like, you think maybe one of them is like, yeah, the boar got him real good. He looks like he got stabbed with a spear a couple times, and then, I kicked him in the face, but no, that was all the boar. He was running, and that's what happened. So we are down to 5 kids.
Game of Thrones, didn't someone get?
Oh yeah, that's how the
gored by a boar or something.
Got killed by a boar. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, seems like an easy thing to do. So the double beat, I have to admit, of them getting captured again, I was like, oh my God, no. Because I'm looking at how much I have to read, going, no, you gotta be kidding me. They're captured again? But then instead of being put in their rooms and guarded, they're put in a dungeon and guarded, right?
Yes, correct.
So they have dungeons. So they're obviously, I don't know, maybe the rebels currently were there.
Yeah. Why are we maintaining these dungeons? We can just put them out in the jungles.
Right. So the rebels were there Bleriana bucketing all over the place.
Yeah, there's rats crawling about. So if they know how to carve their rat skeleton into a knife like Grigner, they could.
A lot
get
was
some
coming
escape.
together. Exactly. But this was the path of the rat was very confusing to me when they're thrown into the dungeon. After they fell, so they're all like tossed in, you know, a rat ran from the walls of the dungeon and passed right by Rebecca's face. Rebecca screamed so loud that you could hear it all the way up the stairs. Rebecca's screaming chased the rat right back into the wall of the dungeon. What? You can become the floor? Can you become the wall as well?
I think based on the other encounter with a rat in the Ellis novel where the cat, the rat hit the cat on the head with a frying pan.
Sure.
We have to imagine a St. Louis Arch sized rat hole, in the wall, like in a Garfield comic. So the
Sure,
rat has
lined
run
with
out
an
of there.
actual with yes.
He's put down
that
a thing of Swiss cheese. It runs
It
out.
has trim around it and
Yeah.
everything.
And then
Yes.
it does. It runs out. Rebecca screams, and it does the like back into the rat hole.
Okay.
It leaves a puddle.
From the walls of the dungeon.
Yeah.
Ran from the walls.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that. Well, all right. Fair enough.
So yeah, they've been thrown down here because the king said 24 hours in a dark dungeon should cure their desire to escape from the kingdom once and for all. I'm not sure if that will actually be the case. That would make me want to get out of there more than anything. But they're very quickly able to free their wrists are bound, but Billy and Thomas just take them off each other, which was a failing on the warrior Nadir's part, for being honest.
Yeah, he wanted to destroy them, but I don't want to bind their wrists very hard. I'm not a monster.
How about this for a Sonic challenge? Thomas yelled angrily, "I'm cold and it stinks down here."
Oh, yes. All right. You ready? I got to back off. I'm cold and it stinks down here.
Yeah, angry, frustration. I'm buying it. Thomas is a hair trigger.
I was thinking of that line in another context, and I was like, that's not fair. This is a kid's novel. Anyway, the second rat appearance.
Yes.
Someone is saying, and I don't know who's saying it. It's in the middle of nothing. So this is not going to be so bad. In fact, it's not that bad down here at all. Just at that moment, a huge rat crawled out from a hole in the wall and ran across the dungeon floor and then into another hole in the wall. Thomas and the other teens just stood there and stared at the rat as it ran across the floor.
So they did specify holes on that one.
So there's holes there, but not the walls. A rat ran from the walls was the earlier one.
I like that scene. There was another part in here where it had sort of like the incredibly shitty, marvelly Joss Whedon dialogue, and that struck me as that type of moment, like almost a "they're right behind me" gag type of thing, where he's saying like, "Let's just calm down, relax. We're only here for 24 hours. It's not a big deal. So it's one night ahead of us. It's not going to be so bad. In fact, it's not that bad down here at all." The rat runs out, and they just they look at the guy. "I didn't know there was going to be a rat down here." Okay.
That's what they were going for. Yes, that is true. Yes.
The royal food taster India prepares some stuff for Aswenta, because Aswenta's wanting to take care of these people because she knows that they are good. She handed Aswenta and the maidens juice, sandwiches, and fruit for the locked up teens. So they were aware of the Earl of Sandwich, not wanting to interrupt his card game. So he put the meat between bread. That happened in their culture as well.
Sure.
Just imagining like the Dagwood hoagie, with like a whole fish on it or whatever, and tomatoes sticking out the sides. It's very funny.
And then so when they go down to bring it, Rebecca looked through the giant peephole at the princess and her maidens. Giant?
Yeah, they
gigantic. Sorry,
gigantic
I'm using
peephole.
gigantic. How big?
That's a window, though, right?
You could get through that? I mean, I think we did a movie once where someone was locked in a prison, and so in order to talk, they had a big thing, like a cutout.
Uh-huh.
And we just kept wondering. I don't think we even had a joke about it, but like you could obviously just go through that.
Yes.
But they did it to make it look better. But it's like that's what like, a gigantic peephole.
Yeah, it ceases to really be peeping at that point in time. It's just there's a hole in the wall. Like
yeah, I mean,
I didn't mention it. It was called it's earlier. It says the door was locked tightly and Billy couldn't open it. He looked through the large peephole in the door. By the time they come back, it's the gigantic peephole. It's expanding. It's like the black hole is happening there. It's going to consume them.
Wow. And then Thomas says, so this is, I think, about the food. This really annoyed me. Thomas, man.
Oh, man.
If she is not going to let us out, and I'm going to join two sentences that are maybe a paragraph apart. If she is not going to let us out, then what did she come down here for? Thomas asked angrily. She might as well have stayed up in the palace. She's useless to us down here.
Jesus, man.
Then a little bit later, he says to her, well, if you didn't come down here to help us escape, why did you come? Thomas asked angrily. We came to bring you blankets, pillows, food, and drink, the princess responded back to Thomas.
Here for 24 hours, you like angry wuss. We're trying to make it slightly more comfortable.
It struck me as like, that guy is a total dick.
Yeah.
He's just down there pouting and screaming like, oh, I think I see the princess coming. Well, what the hell is she coming down here for? I'm like, I brought you a bunch of stuff. You'll be out in a little bit. Like, God, go to hell. God.
Yeah, you didn't get disappeared in a puff of smoke. You didn't get carried off by dinosaurs. You have it pretty good here. And earlier he said, we could all be in the palace with everyone else sleeping in warm beds with satin sheets and soft, luxurious pillows. We could all be getting pedicures and manicures by the maidens. Instead, we're locked up in a cold, smelly, rodent-infested dungeon. It's like, I don't think Thomas is going to be able to go back to society. He's like gotten really soft if he wants
He's really
pedicures and satin sheets. Like, I guess he is from a mansion, but still.
Oh, yes, and all in a British accent, of course.
Yeah, true, yeah. Akita is very upset and says this, which I thought was great. I miss Africa and my parents also.
Yes.
Just all of it. You know, I miss the, war-torn South Sudan and as well as my hometown.
It's unkind to point out, but you are in Africa. So don't.
True.
I mean,
the country of Africa.
Yes.
They hear another rat. This is good Ellis action. Rebecca and Atika heard a strange noise. Then they both heard a squeaking noise. They were both terrified. They were too scared to move. At that point, they were both too scared and too tired to talk anymore. After a few minutes, both girls fell asleep.
Here's Rebecca's dream, by the way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm sure you had this as a note, too.
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca dreamed that a second ghost had long claws. Oh, God, that's terrible. An evil expression on its face. Oh, God, that's horrifying. And was light blue in color. Oh, well, that seems kind of nice.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Like a baby blanket, sure.
Oh, all right.
Robin
I'm
egg.
not so scared anymore.
Yeah. So that's the second ghost. The first ghost has chains. The third ghost is flying through the air, making all kinds of terrifying sounds and floating right over her head. So I thought this just had to have been, Larry at 3 a.m., like when MTV shifted over to Headbangers Ball, just like a Ronnie James Dio video. And he's like, not really my kind of thing, but that was pretty awesome, man. Like, it was pretty bitchin'. These, like, ghosts were flying around and, like, I don't know, like doing all the thing. I don't know. I sort of nodded off in the middle of it. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, there was this, the Scorpions, you know that band? They had this video where they played the guitar. There were actually chains where their guitar strings. It was so sweet,
man, yeah. Had a chick in the cage, like, doing this dancing. It was pretty sweet stuff. I don't know. We should check it out, Denise. It's like, absolutely not, Larry.
You go to bed, honey. I'll see you up in a minute.
Yeah. If it comes on again,
click.
I'm going to call in a request to MTV. Is that something you could do? If it comes on, I'll come wake you up. Do not wake me up. But then they free them, right? Like they come down there. The princess comes down. He says,
well, yes, except that I think it is Thomas who says he's upset with her because she screamed.
Okay.
And he says, there are no ghosts. I'm going back to sleep. He walked back over to his blanket. He sat on the floor, covered his head up with the blanket, and then went back to sleep.
I didn't even notice that.
What?
Thomas, you okay? That's
Are you all right?
he wrapped it up like the Invisible Man or something.
What?
That's very curious. Unless he's worried about the rat walking across his face or something. Yeah, I don't know. The hair trigger rage, that weird sleeping thing. It's really real sociopath behavior.
It truly is. Oh, I guess I should have read. Let me read that again. There are no ghosts. I'm going back to sleep. There we go. Okay.
Perfect. And then when they come down, it says the princess comes down to rescue them. It says, Billy, it's me, Aswenta. You are all free. Billy pleaded, Princess, open the dungeon door. It has been 24 hours. Did you not just hear what I said? Like what?
Yeah, I wrote head injury. What is happening?
You didn't wrap your head in that blanket, did you? Those are pure asbestos. Oh dear.
It actually says she was excited to be the one to set them free.
Yeah.
And then what you just read, it's me. You're all free.
Well, let us out, please.
Let us out.
I'm about to.
What are you? I'm currently opening the door.
And then this was good. This was just an indication of how filthy and disgusting this dungeon must be. It must be just an open sewer, and the rats are there, and not even buckets. It's just pure on the floor. Maidens, take all the pillows and blankets out of here and have them destroyed. They have been on the dungeon floor and shall never be used again. I'd be like, wear gloves. This is just rough. Like, it was not this bad before Billy and Thomas got down here. What the hell did you guys eat? Like, you couldn't wait 24 hours? Man.
And the who's the Nadur or whatever is like, destroyed. Oh, I love destroying.
Oh, blankets. That's not as.
Oh, I thought it was human
blankets
beings.
don't cry out in pain.
Yeah, dang it.
All right. Wow. So much to cover. And where are we left here? They're stuck here. I think so. We're going to finish this right next time. It's going to be a little longer, but we'll take care of it.
Oh, is it longer than this reading?
I mean, it's like 18,000 words, but like we're going to.
Yeah.
I guess we could make it into 2 shorter ones. I don't know. We got to do something cozy for Christmas. So.
Yeah, let's finish it and just.
Okay.
Let's go quickly over it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're starting to get into a loop here.
Sure, exactly. But we have, enormous gorilla attacks and Waldo and all this stuff coming. We have the parrots jumping off the waterfall. We have a lot of stuff as we know is going to happen that we don't really know how it ties in.
I assume Caligula is going to turn into Caligula, so that'll be fun.
It's all an origin story.
Yeah.
But yeah,
all
so
right.
it's very exciting to see how this is all going to tie together or not. Whether those 9 kids come back to life, the dinosaur. Do we ever get to the dinosaur island? We'll see.
What if Nadur just destroys them, and then that's the end?
Nadur, you want to destroy something? Go destroy the toilet. You're good at that. Let's wrap it up with the dumb sentences. All right, our dumb sentences, once again, sponsored by our Patreon listeners, patreon.com/372pages. It's really awesome. Josh and Janelle both submitted, Rebecca, sometimes I think you have the mind of a little woman.
I missed that one.
Josh said, I wonder which little woman. My money is on Joe. And Janelle and our listener, talk about burying the lead. Janelle and Andrew, both who are listeners of us, got married last weekend. They Janelle walked down the aisle to the 372 pages theme song, which, travel back in time 5 years and say that's going to happen when we pick up this Ready Player One book. I would have gone for the fanfic on that one, but
yes.
A hearty congratulations to the both of them.
Oh, that's fantastic!
She
Great.
said that her relatives were quite confused, but that was her intent with the thing. So
sure,
maybe a transition of like Canon and D into that would be pretty awesome.
I'm assuming she did not assume smiles on the elderly faces of recognition.
Knowing
like,
nods, yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of the mouths bleary on her as she's walking in. But yeah, congratulations. Elliot said Thomas, Adam, and Shazar went to one of the buffet tables to eat and drink punch. He said Royal Bongo players, favorite swords, buffets, and punch. The land of the Mopek sounds like a pretty awesome place. Christine submitted the simple "my bad." She said, as spoken by Isabella, the manipulative and cunning sorceress raised alongside royalty in the ancient warrior civilization that lay hidden from the modern world for thousands of years. Mandy and Mark both submitted. She walked past a wheelbarrow and could sense with her wickedness the presence of Jessica, who was 11, Jennifer, who was 10 years old, and Caligula, who was 13. And they just said this sentence had everything.
That would have, had that been real or fanfic, I obviously would have said fanfic.
It's crafted.
It's incredible.
Jackson submitted the fangirl Priscilla laid the gigantic fan down. Presumably to get to like her Riverdale panel at Comic-Con. Hayden submitted. Thomas replied, so at least I don't have to walk around with a paperback over my head. He said, the Pelican Brief, the client, the firm. I bet any John Grisham novel would be pretty absorbent. Harris, George, and Alejandro all submitted. There were skeleton bones everywhere. And so one of them said, aren't all bones skeleton bones? So Lindsay submitted, we didn't know that the Mopek warriors were going on a yearly hunting we didn't know that the Mopek warriors were going on a yearly hunting expedition today. That's okay, Rebecca. Neither did the audience. I assume that the yearly hunting expedition is a big deal, but the Mopek, who threw celebrations at the drop of a hat, didn't bother to acknowledge it. Mike submitted, the scythe was made of wood and had a long carved sharp blade on the end of it. And he said, in other words, the scythe was a scythe. And then this is also from Mike. It's amazing to me that the weather in the land of the Mopek can be so beautiful, and at the same time, it's so cold down here. Given that they haven't explained how Mopek has weather at all, it would be amazing, except she's talking essentially about the temperature of a basement, and there's nothing unusual about it being colder than what's above ground. That was when they were in the dungeon.
For sure.
I have one more that we did not touch on. This is also while they're in the dungeon. It's just a very funny way to describe all this. The incarcerated teens wrapped themselves up with the blankets and then ate the food and punch that the princess and the maidens had brought to them. Just to toss incarcerated in there is extremely funny.
Oh, the incarcerated teens. Was that the cross-country killing spree of those two kids back in the 60s or whatever, the 50s?
Sure, the Badlands people.
Badlands, yes. Incarcerated teens. I had the skeleton bones one. Yeah. I was just like, that was just delightful to me.
So perfect.
Yeah.
The bones are their money.
Yes.
It's been quite a journey. I'm going to be sad to see it come to an end, but I think it's a good in short doses here.
Yes, and it'll be good to finish it up. And I'm assuming we can do mail as a separate.
Yeah, we'll do mail separately. So if you have any more questions, send it in. We'll deal with that next week.
All right, thanks everyone. We're gonna finish it up.
Finish this bitch.